Chapter 49:15. In the Void Realm, witchcraft was a symbol of power and mystery. In the entire southern barbarian region, witchcraft prevailed. The previous ruler of southern barbarian was the Shaman King. After the Shaman King was defeated by the current barbarian king, the entire southern barbarian region changed masters. However, although the Shaman King was defeated, the strength of the witch tribe was still there. Although the current barbarian king was incomparably powerful, he was still wary of the power of the witch tribe. Although the witch tribe surrendered to the barbarian king, they were always thinking about how to regain control of southern barbarian. However, the barbarian king was an invincible existence in southern barbarian. He firmly suppressed the witch tribe, so the witch tribe could only surrender. The two were in a delicate state of balance. Because the tentacles of the witch tribe covered the entire southern barbarian, the worship of the gods in southern barbarian was the masterpiece of the witch tribe. Because the witch tribe controlled all kinds of foreign creatures, it was one of the special skills of the witch tribe. The witch tribe ruled southern barbarian through this primitive worship of gods, and the strongest and most powerful god in southern barbarian was the Shaman King. If the Shaman King wanted to settle accounts with the witch tribe, southern barbarians' vitality would be greatly damaged, and the super forces of other regions would benefit. In Barbarian Emperor City, there was a mysterious heaven shaman priest. Even the city lord of Barbarian Emperor City, Man Yao, had never seen the true face of this heaven shaman priest. Some people said that the heaven shaman priest was male, while others said that the heaven shaman priest was female. However, there was no doubt that this heaven shaman priest was incomparably mysterious and terrifying. A heavenly god had once offended the heaven shaman priest, and that heavenly god was directly refined into a poisonous beast by the heaven shaman priest. Poisonous beast was a kind of witchcraft, mysterious and terrifying. Wherever the poisonous beast went, not even a blade of grass would grow, and people would die upon contact. Even the unruly Man Yao didn't dare to be presumptuous in front of the heaven shaman priest. At this time, no matter how stupid Man Yao was, he could see that the mist in the coiling dragon gorge was strange. Not to mention his army of hundreds of thousands, even 10 times the army was absolutely not enough to fill the coiling dragon gorge. Hundreds of thousands of barbarian Emperor City's army was blocked outside the coiling dragon gorge. City Lord. More than 2 hours later, the person who went to invite the heaven shaman priest descended from the sky and landed in front of Man Yao. Where's the heaven magus priest? Seeing that only his subordinates had returned, Man Yao was furious. This city lord, Lord Heaven Shaman Priest isn't in Barbarian Emperor City. I don't know where he went, the general said cautiously. What? Man Yao was dumbfounded. When he left the Barbarian Emperor City with his army, wasn't the Heaven Shaman Priest still in the Heavenly Shaman Manor? Now it's gone. Is that guy purposely avoiding me? Man Yao gritted his teeth. That bastard Sky Shaman Priest. Man Yao almost went crazy. If the Heaven Magus Priest didn't help them, they wouldn't be able to pass through the coiling dragon gorge. Would they really be stopped by this coiling dragon gorge? Lord Heavenly Wizard, are you really not going to make a move? At this time, on a mountain peak about 20 to 30 miles away from the coiling dragon gorge, 2 people in white stood. The one in the lead was dressed in white, and wore a hat with a white veil hanging down, covering the mysterious person's face. Behind this mysterious man stood a pretty maid who was also dressed in a white robe. Man Yao is insufferably arrogant. Does he need me to act? The mysterious man said disapprovingly. The mysterious man's voice was very neutral, and it was hard to tell whether it was a man or a woman. It was hard to tell if this guy deliberately changed his voice or if it was just his natural voice. Hee, Lord Heavenly Wizard wants to see Man Yao suffer, the maid in white said with a smile. I'm very curious, who is that person from the Black Mountain tribe? He actually dared to kill the Barbarian Emperor's special envoy, openly going against the Barbarian Emperor, the mysterious man said. Lord Heavenly Wizard is going to the Black Mountain tribe? The maid in white said with surprise. Lord Heavenly Wizard had been staying in the Heavenly Wizard Palace in the Barbarian Emperor City for the past few years, never leaving his residence. There was nothing that could interest him. But today, Lord Heavenly Wizard seemed to be in a good mood. "It's been a long time since I came out. It's not bad to stretch my bones," the mysterious Lord Heavenly Wizard said. "Let's go!" After saying that, Lord Heavenly Shaman flicked his sleeves, turned around, and soared into the sky. His movements were graceful and otherworldly, without a trace of the mundane world. The maid also soared into the sky and chased after him. In the void realm, only powerful beings at the divine realm could fly. Lord Heavenly Wizard's maid was able to fly at such a young age, and she was also at the divine realm. "Master, can Tian Yuan and the other three really stop the army of the barbarian Emperor City?" In the sacred palace of the Black Mountain tribe, Gu Fei had finished teaching Xiaoye. Xiaoye couldn't help but ask. "They should be able to stop it." Gu Fei nodded. "How is that possible?" Xiaoye couldn't believe it. One should know that the city lord of the barbarian Emperor City, Man Yao, had put in a lot of effort this time. He gathered all the tribal lords and divine spirits in the territory of the barbarian Emperor City and gathered an army of hundreds of thousands to attack the Black Mountain tribe. How could Tian Yuan and the other three stop an army of hundreds of thousands? If they couldn't stop it, the army of the barbarian Emperor City would have already reached the Black Mountain tribe, Gu Fei said. Xiaoye was speechless. Gu Fei suddenly frowned, stood up, and walked out. "Master!" Upon seeing this, Xiaoye quickly stood up and followed them out. When Gu Fei walked out of the sacred palace, he saw two people standing outside the gate. Strangely, the people in the surroundings didn't seem to notice them. Xiaoye looked at the two white-robed people in shock. "Fellow Taoists, aren't you going to invite us in?" The white-clothed mysterious man wearing a hat said to Gu Fei. The gauze hanging down from the hat covered the mysterious man's face. "Fellow Taoist?" Gu Fei was stunned when he heard the name. There was actually someone in this primitive world who used this name. "Who are you?" Xiaoye asked in shock. Shan Kui and the others were standing guard outside the sacred palace. Currently, Shan Kui and the others were standing motionlessly at the side as if they were under a spell. "Master, Xiaoye was shocked when she saw the state of Shan Kui and the others. "It's fine." Gu Fei looked at the white-robed man curiously. Who were these two fellows who suddenly appeared out of nowhere? "Please," Gu Fei said as he walked in. Xiaoye looked at the two mysterious people cautiously. "What a cute little fellow." The white-robed servant behind the mysterious person smiled and reached out to pinch Xiaoye's face. "You!" Xiaoye immediately jumped away. "As Xiantian realm?" Chapter 49:16. A 5 or 6-year-old girl was actually a Xiantian realm expert. This surprised the two mysterious men. One should know that Xiaoye was too young. She was one of the most heaven-defying existences in the entire South China. "Taoist friend, you actually killed the barbarian emperor's special envoy. How bold!" After sitting down, the Heaven Magus priest said indifferently. The two of them were very straightforward. They directly crossed the mountains and came to the Black Mountain tribe. Then, they directly found Gu Fei. They were really too straightforward. The news of Gu Fei killing the barbarian emperor's special envoy had already shaken the entire South China. "It's just a small matter," Gu Fei said indifferently. "A small matter?" The maid standing behind the Heaven Magus priest was speechless. This matter could be said to have pierced the heavens. Man Yao's army of hundreds of thousands had killed their way to the coiling Dragon Gorge. However, the Heaven Magus still admired Gu Fei's means. He actually blocked Man Yao's army of hundreds of thousands. "Taoist friend, you are very modest," the Heaven Magus priest said. Because the white veil hanging down from his hat covered his face, no one could see his expression. "I have always been Loki." Gu Fei's expression remained indifferent. The Heaven Magus priest didn't know what to say. Loki is good, Loki is good." The Heaven Magus priest was a little embarrassed. The maid standing behind the Heaven Magus priest looked at Gu Fei with disdain. "If you are Loki, then there is nothing in the world that can be high profile." At this time, countless eyes in the entire South China were staring at the barbarian emperor city. Taoist friend, since you have come to visit me, why don't you show your face? Gu Fei looked at the mysterious man opposite him and said, Is name and background that important? The Heaven Magus priest said. It doesn't seem that important. Gu Fei thought for a moment and said, Isn't that fine? The Heaven Magus priest said and took a sip of the tea that Xiaoya had brewed. Aren't you afraid that I will poison the tea? Gu Fei said with a faint smile. What? The maids behind the Heaven Shaman priest were shocked upon hearing this. You dare to poison our Lord Sky Witch? The maid was anxious and blurted out. You're a heaven wizard? The old priest, who was waiting at the side, turned pale with fright when he heard this. He staggered and almost fell to the ground. Even Xiaoya was startled and hid behind Gu Fei. Only Gu Fei remained calm. If fellow Taoist wanted to poison me, you would have done it long ago. Would I still be sitting here? The Heaven Shaman priest said disapprovingly. Greetings, Lord Sky Witch. At this moment, the old shaman trembled and knelt down in front of the Sky Shaman, his forehead touching the ground. He was extremely respectful. In the territory of the barbarian emperor city, one could choose not to know who the barbarian emperor city lord was, but it was absolutely impossible to not know who the Heaven Shaman priest was. From a certain point of view, the prestige of the Heaven Shaman priest in barbarian emperor city was much higher than that of city lord Man Yao. Without the approval of the Heaven Shaman priest, it would be impossible for Man Yao to command all the tribes and tribal gods in the territory. Rise! The Heaven Shaman priest said indifferently. Yes. The old shaman slowly stood up and lowered his head, standing respectfully to the side. Lord Sky Witch? Are you very powerful? Gu Fei picked up the teacup on the table and took a small sip. Although the people of this world also drank tea, it was much worse than the tea he drank in the eternal world, mortal world, and heavenly world. Impudent! The servant behind the Heaven Shaman priest glared at Gu Fei and shouted. Humph! Gu Fei sneered. In the next moment, his clothes fluttered even though there was no wind. A powerful aura spread out from his body, causing everyone to feel a powerful pressure suddenly descend upon them. Especially the servant behind the Heaven Shaman priest, she felt as if she was suffocating. Fellow Taoist, why bother with a servant like me? The Heaven Shaman priest casually waved his right sleeve. The maidservant standing behind the Heaven Magus shaman immediately felt the pressure on her body disappear, and the terrifying pressure from Gu Fei immediately disappeared. The servant stared at Gu Fei in horror. Not many who dare to act presumptuously in front of me will live. Gu Fei put the teacup back on the table and said indifferently. What? The maid was even more frightened when she heard this. Fellow Taoists, for my sake, will you let this matter go? The Heaven Shaman priest's tone was still calm. No one could sense the change in his emotions from his tone. All right. Gu Fei smiled at the Heaven Shaman priest. Thank you, fellow Taoist, the Heaven Shaman priest said. But what? If you can let me see your true face, I will let this matter go. Gu Fei looked at the Heaven Shaman priest with a faint smile. The old priest was frightened when he heard Gu Fei's words. Who in the barbarian emperor city had seen the true face of the Heaven Shaman priest? The Heaven Shaman priest was in existence more powerful and mysterious than the gods in the barbarian emperor city. Even the gods had to kneel in front of the Heaven Shaman priest. In the barbarian emperor city, the Heaven Shaman priest held a supreme position in the hearts of countless tribes and gods. You! The servant standing behind the Heaven Shaman priest was shocked and angered. You want to see my true face? The Heaven Shaman priest's voice was still calm, as if nothing could affect his emotions. This reminded Gu Fei of Yan'er. He had left the human world for some time now. He wondered how Yan'er and his daughter, Gu Ling, were doing. Can't I? Gu Fei smiled. That depends on whether you have the ability or not, the Heaven Shaman priest said. And then let's give it a try. Gu Fei reached out his right hand and grabbed the hat on the Heaven Shaman priest's head. It didn't seem fast, but it gave people a feeling that it was impossible to dodge. Huh! At the same time, a faint fragrance spread out from the heaven shaman priest. The moment they smelled the fragrance, Xiaoya and the old priest fell to the ground and fainted. So you're also an expert in poison? Gu Fei didn't seem to be affected at all. You're not bad either. The heaven shaman priest waved his right hand. In the next moment, several cold lights shot out from his sleeves, aiming for Gu Fei's chest and forehead. At such a close distance, Gu Fei had no chance to dodge. The heaven shaman priest was ruthless and wanted to kill Gu Fei, which made Gu Fei very unhappy. Perhaps Gu Fei wanted to see the heaven shaman priest's true face and angered the heaven shaman priest, causing the heaven shaman priest to want to kill him. However, in the next moment, a scene that left the heaven shaman high priest's maid dumbfounded appeared. Gu Fei did not dodge at all and allowed the rays of cold light to land on his body. Lord Heavenly Witch! The heaven shaman priest's maids were shocked to see this. You! The white-clothed woman's face revealed a trace of anger and bashfulness. Her face was a little pale, but she did not panic. You're the heaven magus priest? Gu Fei looked at the woman in white with a faint smile. How dare you! Do you know the consequences of looking at Lord Heavenly Witch's face? The maid threw caution to the wind and yelled at Gu Fei. Gu Fei rubbed his nose and said nonchalantly, What's the big deal about looking? Damn it! The heaven shaman high priestess seemed to be enraged by Gu Fei's words. She immediately attacked Gu Fei. Her slender, jade-like hands danced, and transparent threads appeared in the void, wrapping around Gu Fei. Oh, you can spit silk too? Are you a celestial silkworm? After saying that, Gu Fei utilized his movement technique to dodge the threads wrapping around him. Next, he charged out of the holy temple. Where do you think you're going? The heaven shaman priest had no intention of letting Gu Fei go. She chased after him. Lord Heavenly Witch! The maid also rushed out. Who's running away? Gu Fei stopped in the courtyard in front of the holy temple. He turned around and threw a punch at Big Sister Heavenly Witchcraft. The violent fist energy turned into the shadow of a dragon and pounced at Big Sister Heavenly Witchcraft with its claws and fangs bared. What? The Heavenly Witch kicked the ground with her right foot and soared into the sky. Gu Fei's dragon-shaped fist force directly rushed past her feet and then dissipated into the void, disappearing without a trace. He knew when to stop and didn't destroy anything around him. Inescapable net! Miss Heavenly Witchcraft bellowed. In the next moment, countless transparent threads shot out of her body and intertwined together, turning into a large net that enveloped Gu Fei below. I'll break your inescapable net! After saying that, Gu Fei extended his right hand. Using his hand as a saber, he slashed at the net that was enveloping them. An extremely sharp saber energy rushed out from his hand. Without any suspense, the large net that was enveloping Gu Fei was directly cut open by his saber. Gu Fei rushed out of the hole in the net and pounced at the Heavenly Witch. The two of them started fighting in the courtyard in front of the temple. It had to be said that the Heavenly Witch was really powerful. She was many times more powerful than Xianchong. Her spiritual energy condensed into silk threads, each as sharp as a blade. Gu Fei's sleeve was touched by one of the threads and a hole was immediately cut open. Gu Fei wouldn't even fear a real divine weapon, let alone silk threads condensed from spiritual energy. He simply ignored the sharpness of the silk threads and punched them. The powerful fist energy directly broke the silk threads. In the courtyard of the temple, the fist energy was strong and mighty, and smoke and dust filled the air. The Heavenly Witch's maid was stunned when she saw this scene. Her master's cultivation was extremely powerful. Even the half-step divine King Manyao wasn't her master's match. This guy could actually fight with her master. Could he really be an expert from another region? Golden Silkworm's silk hand! The Heavenly Witch was furious. She waved her hands and her sleeves fluttered. The almost transparent silk threads turned golden and wrapped around Gu Fei's right arm. Huh! Gu Fei was taken aback. The next moment, his right sleeve was instantly cut into pieces by the golden silk threads. There was a burning pain on his arm. The power of the golden silk threads condensed by the heavenly witch's spiritual energy was doubled, but it still couldn't cut Gu Fei's skin. However, it made Gu Fei's right arm feel like it was being burned. Fire fist! Gu Fei didn't hesitate. The next moment, his right arm shook and a ball of fire burst out from his arm. The golden silk threads wrapped around his right arm were shattered. All right, I've had enough fun. It's time to end this. Gu Fei suddenly grinned at the heavenly witch. The next moment, the heavenly witch's vision blurred. She was hit on the neck and fainted. A hand stretched out from the side and hugged the heavenly witch. You! The maid's eyeballs almost fell to the ground when she saw this scene. Chapter 49:18. The Heaven Witchcraft High Priestess turned out to be a young lady. This made Gu Fei very surprised. This young lady was very pretty, but why did she have to pretend to be either a man nor a woman? You bastard! How dare you knock out our Lord Heaven Shaman! The Heaven Shaman priest's maid pointed at Gu Fei and scolded. She even wanted to snatch the Heaven Shaman priest from Gu Fei's arms. You're courting death! With a wave of Gu Fei's right hand, the maid was sent flying and slammed into the wall. She fainted and lay on the ground. Master, this! Xiaoya woke up at this moment, and was shocked to see this scene. Although Southern Barbarian was ruled by the barbarian sovereign, the sorcerer tribe was still very powerful. No one dared to offend the sorcerer tribe. But now, not only did her master offend the barbarian sovereign, he also offended the sorcerer tribe. The severity of this matter could no longer be described as piercing the sky. Master, who is this lady? Xiaoya looked curiously at the lady in white that Gu Fei was carrying. This lady was as beautiful as a fairy. Heaven Shaman! Gu Fei said. What? Xiaoya almost fainted. Her master was too powerful to knock out the Heaven Shaman priest. Could it be that her master's cultivation was so powerful that he could easily defeat the Heaven Shaman priest? Lord God! At this moment, the old shaman woke up. The Heaven Shaman priest did not intend to hurt anyone. Xiaoya and the old shaman only fainted for a short while. Lord God, we're in trouble! The old shaman saw Gu Fei carrying the unconscious lady in white. How could he not know what had happened? What do you mean? Gu Fei said disapprovingly. No, Lord God, you shouldn't have looked at the Heaven Shaman priest's face. The old shaman said hurriedly. What? Am I going to marry her just because I looked at her? Gu Fei asked curiously. Lord God already knows about it. The old shaman was startled and said. What? Is that true? This is too melodramatic. Gu Fei was speechless. This is the rule of the Southern Barbarian Shaman tribe for thousands of years. A Heaven Shaman cannot let others see his appearance. Once someone sees him, he must marry that person if he doesn't kill that person. The old high priest explained to Gu Fei. Gu Fei was speechless. The Heaven Witchcraft Shaman was beautiful, but what did that have to do with him? Gu Fei pondered for a moment, then directly carried this heavenly witch lady into the holy hall and settled her down. The maidservant also asked Xiaoya to carry her in. Although Xiaoya was still young, she was a Xiantian realm martial artist. It was very easy for her to carry the maid. People of the Black Mountain tribe, come out and die! At this moment, an angry roar came from the horizon. In the next moment, an incomparably powerful aura could be felt. The people of the Black Mountain tribe were terrified to the extreme, and a commotion broke out. Who is it? Gu Fei was a little angry. These fellows really didn't know when to stop. He walked out and looked up, only to see rays of divine light rushing over from the southern sky. Each ray of divine light had a powerful figure wrapped around it. The leading divine light was especially bright, like a meteor streaking across the sky. In an instant, it arrived above the Black Mountain tribe. Where did this mad dog come from? Gu Fei directly roared at the guy in the sky. What? The person in the sky was so angry that his nose became crooked. How dare he be impudent in front of the city lord? City lord, let me go and kill this arrogant fellow. At this moment, a group of powerful beings rushed over and stopped behind the person. A burly man walked out from behind the person. "All right, go ahead then." The person nodded and said. He was the city lord of the barbarian emperor city, Man Yao. This guy couldn't pass through the coiling dragon gorge, so he threw his army of hundreds of thousands into the coiling dragon gorge. He brought a group of gods who could fly and directly cross the mountains to kill his way to the Black Mountain tribe. At this moment, Man Yao was burning with anger. The trash of the Black Mountain tribe made him lose face. He had no choice but to abandon his hundreds of thousands of soldiers and bring less than 200 gods to the Black Mountain tribe. Although there were only 200 gods, Man Yao's momentum was not any weaker than the hundreds of thousands of soldiers. At this moment, the entire sky was illuminated by all kinds of divine lights. Extremely powerful yuan qi rippled in all directions. The thousands of people in the Black Mountain tribe were terrified to the extreme. Everyone knelt to the gods in the sky. To the people of the Black Mountain tribe, this was a miracle among miracles. No one had ever seen so many gods gathered in one place. However, in Gu Fei's eyes, those fellows in the sky were nothing more than monsters that had yet to grow into their full potential. "Little guy, go to hell." The burly man threw the axe in his hand. The axe turned into a streak of fire and descended from the sky, chopping towards Gu Fei in front of the sacred temple. This axe could definitely split a mountain in half. However, Gu Fei just smiled and reached out with his right hand, grabbing the axe that was falling from the sky. In the next moment, the fiery light dissipated and a huge scarlet axe appeared in his hand. What? The burly man was shocked. No one knew the power of his move better than he did. However, his opponent had actually caught the axe he had swung out with a casual grab. How is this possible? The other gods were also dumbfounded. "Hunyao, did you not eat?" A god sneered. "Hey Hu, what did you say? Do you want to fight?" The god called Hunyao turned around and roared at a dark-faced old man. His nostrils were blowing hot air and two black horns emerged from his forehead. "So, it's an ox demon." Gu Fei exerted force with his right hand. Crack! Countless cracks appeared on the giant axe that was surrounded by flames. In the next moment, with a bang, the giant axe instantly shattered into pieces. Seeing Gu Fei crush the axe with his bare hands, the ox demon and the other demons couldn't help but be shocked. Even the calm Man Yao couldn't help frowning. The ox demon was a half-step heavenly god. Even among the monsters, he was ranked at the top. His weapon was a true god-grade divine weapon. How could a person who could crush a true god-grade divine weapon be a weakling? "You destroyed my weapon. Go to hell." The Hunyao demon roared and attacked. He slapped Gu Fei crazily. Fireballs fell from the sky towards Gu Fei. Chapter 49-19. Man Yao brought a group of demons and ghosts over, wanting to kill everyone in the Black Mountain tribe, leaving no one alive. However, they were stopped by Gu Fei alone. "You want to start a massacre? It won't be easy." Rumble. At this moment, fireballs rained down from the sky above the Black Mountain tribe towards Gu Fei, who was standing in the courtyard in front of the sacred palace. Even in the daytime, the sky above the Black Mountain tribe was still covered in flames. Powerful yuan qi burst out from the fire bull monster. The fire bull monster was strong, a half-step heavenly god. Even in the territory of barbarian emperor city, he was a formidable existence. However, in Gu Fei's eyes, he was not a half-step heavenly god, but just a fire bull monster. How could he put a mere fire bull monster in his eyes? He stretched out his right hand and sucked the air. In the next moment, a black hole emerged from his palm and the countless fireballs raining down from the sky gathered towards the black hole in his hand. In an instant, Gu Fei devoured all the fireballs shot out by the fire bull monster. Everyone's eyeballs almost fell to the ground. How could this work? The voices of the demons and ghosts trembled. A faint layer of fire appeared on Gu Fei's body, and the layer of fire quickly disappeared from his body. "You come over too!" Gu Fei grabbed at the fire bull monster in the sky. The stunned fire bull monster immediately fell to the ground. "How dare you!" Man Yao roared and pointed his finger. A blood-red light emerged from the tip of his finger and shot towards Gu Fei. The blood-red light lit up half of the sky. This guy was a half-step divine king. His cultivation was extremely strong. His attack changed the color of the sky. He wanted to save the fire bull monster, but Gu Fei exerted strength in his hand. The fire bull monster screamed and exploded into a blood mist in the void. The powerful fire bull demon was killed by Gu Fei just like that. Both his body and soul were destroyed. Damn you! Man Yao was enraged. The blood-colored light instantly expanded and enveloped Gu Fei and the entire palace. He could destroy the space covered by the blood-colored light with a single thought. However, at this moment, Gu Fei made a fist gesture. An invisible domain energy instantly spread out from his body and protected the entire sacred palace. What? Man Yao was shocked. He realized that he had severely underestimated this guy. Gu Fei sneered, and then he smashed his fist towards the sky. In the next moment, a huge fist shadow soared into the sky, broke through Man Yao's blood-red light and hit the monsters in the sky. After that, more than half of the monsters in the sky disappeared. Those that had disappeared were directly blasted into a bloody mist by Gu Fei's punch. It's raining blood! The people of the Black Mountain tribe suddenly felt something warm fall on their faces and bodies. They touched it with their hands and saw that their hands were covered in blood. Those lucky monsters weren't hit by Gu Fei's punch, but they were scared less by Gu Fei's punch. Since when are the divine spirits so weak? Those so-called divine spirits that weren't killed by Gu Fei's punch were scared out of their wits. They fled in all directions. You! Man Yao almost vomited blood. F***ck, this guy is too ruthless. He killed more than half of his men with one punch. Originally, Man Yao had brought more than 100 gods from different tribes to attack the Black Mountain tribe. But now, Gu Fei had killed 70 to 80 of them in just one move. Moreover, when they were in the Coiling Dragon Gorge, more than a dozen gods had fallen into the Coiling Dragon Gorge. Now, only a dozen or so gods had survived. They were all scared out of their wits and had fled far away. In the courtyard of the Holy Hall, Xiaoya and the old shaman were stunned when they saw what had happened. They thought they were hallucinating. Killing dozens of deities with one punch was a scene that they would never forget for the rest of their lives. At this time, Gu Fei slowly retracted his fist. This punch consumed almost 50% of his yuan qi. Fortunately, he had asked Tian Yuan and the others to catch up to Xian Chong and retrieve the 10,000-year fire ginseng from him. However, it was a pity that less than half of the 10,000-year fire ginseng had been eaten by Xian Chong. This guy was really wasting natural resources. The 10,000-year fire ginseng was good stuff. The fire elemental spirit qi it contained was immense. If an ordinary person took a small bite, their body would explode and they would die. However, to those divine spirits, the 10,000-year fire ginseng was a great treasure. It could increase their cultivation level and even extend their lifespan. Gu Fei took out the 10,000-year fire ginseng that Xian Chong had eaten and took a big bite. The 10,000-year fire ginseng wasn't hard. Instead, it was crispy and refreshing. The fire ginseng meat melted in his mouth. Gu Fei felt a fiery heat flow from his throat into his stomach like molten iron. Soon he felt as if there was a ball of fire burning in his stomach. The yuan qi that he had consumed was instantly replenished. Gu Fei felt his body brimming with strength, as a faint layer of fire appeared on his body. 10,000-year fire ginseng? Man Yao was shocked when he saw the thing in Gu Fei's hand. At this moment, Gu Fei had already put away the 10,000-year fire ginseng. An incomparably powerful aura erupted from his body. Another part of the power in his body had been awakened. Man Yao looked down at Gu Fei. In a trance, he felt like he was facing a huge mountain. The other party gave him a strong sense of oppression. This guy. Man Yao was shocked and angry at the same time. He took out the wind-fire halberd. This was a heavenly god-grade weapon. With the halberd in hand, his aura instantly doubled. Lord Divine Spirit, he is Man Yao, the third son of Man King. You have to be careful. The old priest looked at Man Yao in the sky and quickly reminded Gu Fei. At this moment, the mighty pressure of a half-step Divine King made his divine soul tremble. Man King's third son? Gu Fei was a little surprised. This guy was actually Man King's son. If he killed Man King's son, Man King would probably kill him immediately. Man King! Gu Fei was looking forward to it. Man King was the strongest expert in South Man. Maybe only Man King could force all the power in his body to awaken. However, Gu Fei wasn't sure if he had to face Man King now. Kneel down and surrender, and I will spare your life. Gu Fei stood with his hands behind his back and looked at Man Yao indifferently. What? Man Yao almost fell from the sky after hearing Gu Fei's words. This guy was too arrogant. He actually wants me to kneel down and beg for mercy? A warrior can be killed but not humiliated. I will kill you today. Man Yao's voice was trembling with anger. Aya, stop talking nonsense. Make your move. I guarantee that even your father Man King won't be able to recognize you. Gu Fei said disapprovingly. You asshole! Man Yao was fuming with anger because of Gu Fei. He held the halberd in his hand and charged down from the sky. As he moved, the spiritual energy of the heaven and earth moved. It was like a giant dragon descending from the sky, pouncing towards Gu Fei. Aya! Gu Fei punched again. A giant fist shadow appeared again and hit the head of the giant dragon. The giant dragon was blown away. This. Chapter 49-20. Man Yao was so depressed that he almost coughed blood. He was actually forced back by this guy from the Black Mountain tribe with one punch. Who the hell are you? Man Yao flew into the air. His blood boiled and blood rushed to his throat. But he swallowed it back. Who I am has nothing to do with you. Gu Fei stood with his hands behind his back and said indifferently. You killed Emperor Barbarian's Anva and my men. Do you think it has nothing to do with me? Man Yao was about to go crazy. Are you stupid? The weak are prey to the strong. This is the law of the world. I'm stronger than them. You guys provoked me and got killed. You deserved it. Gu Fei sneered. What did you say? Man Yao's veins were twitching. No one had ever dared to call him stupid, not even his father. How dare this guy call him stupid? If you were stronger than me, I would have been killed by you already. Gu Fei smiled. It's not too late to kill you now. Man Yao held the windfire halberd and charged at Gu Fei again. Swish! He brandished the halberd in his hand and charged down from the sky, directly striking at Gu Fei's head. The power of wind and fire erupted from the halberd, making it seem as if the entire halberd was on fire. At the same time, transparent wind blades rushed out from the halberd and slashed towards Gu Fei below. The strong power of wind and fire spread out, and in the sky above the Black Mountain tribe, the wind howled angrily. Divine flames burned the sky, and even the sky changed color. God, spare me! God, please don't be angry! I don't want to die! Everyone in the Black Mountain tribe was scared out of their wits. When a god was angry, the heavens and the earth would shake. When had they ever seen such a terrifying scene? God my *s. From now on, the Black Mountain tribe will no longer worship gods. In my eyes, gods are just a bunch of demons and ghosts. Gu Fei's voice rang out. Although it wasn't loud, it was clearly transmitted to everyone's ears. It was like a morning bell that shook the souls of countless people. Today, I will kill a god! After saying that, Gu Fei soared into the sky to meet Man Yao's halberd. The Sky Shaman Priestess had already woken up. She saw Gu Fei's silhouette, who was going against the natural order and fighting against the gods, and a strange feeling rose in her heart. Today, I will kill a god! Gu Fei's voice reverberated throughout heaven and earth, shocking everyone to the extreme. How arrogant! The heaven shaman's maid woke up as well. She wasn't injured, she just fainted. In the sky, a scene that countless people in the Black Mountain tribe would never be able to forget for the rest of their lives appeared. A silhouette shot up into the sky, fighting against the invincible god with his own strength. The man who defied the heavens was no longer a god, but a human with flesh and blood. Could a human really kill a god? Everyone in the Black Mountain tribe was shocked. In fact, the people of the Black Mountain tribe were brought here by the other four gods. They were the people of the Heaven Ape, Sky Wolf, Golden Lion, and Fire Bear tribes. They joined the Black Mountain tribe and became their people. In their eyes, a god was invincible. Anyone who went against a god was destined to die a horrible death. But now, their master was going to kill a god. To these ignorant people, was there anything more shocking than this? At this moment, Gu Fei's fist broke through the power of wind and fire descending from the sky. His fist directly smashed onto the blade of the halberd. Clang! When Gu Fei's fist collided with Man Yao's halberd, a metal clanging sound was heard. How is this possible? Man Yao only felt a huge force coming from the halberd in his hand. He felt like he was hit by a mountain and was sent flying. The halberd almost flew out of his hand. The eyes of the other gods almost fell out of their sockets when they saw this scene. This guy actually took on the wind and fire halberd with his bare hands? That was a heavenly god-level divine weapon. No wonder this guy dared to kill Barbarian King's envoy and disregard Man Yao, the third son of Barbarian King. Is this guy a divine king? When the other gods thought of this, they retreated even further away. Man Yao was only a half-step divine king. Who are you? Man Yao shouted at Gu Fei. I'm your grandfather. Gu Fei slowly walked through the void, approaching Man Yao step by step. With every step he took, the aura around him would increase by a notch. It was as if the whole world was shaking under Gu Fei's feet. Unity of man and nature? Man Yao was truly frightened. In his eyes, Gu Fei was like an entire world crushing down on him. How was he supposed to fight? Preposterous! Man Yao was shocked and angry. He took out a jade bottle, opened the stopper, and ate the contents. What is he playing at this time? Gu Fei could not help but knit his brows. Roar! At this moment, Man Yao raised his head and roared. His body was covered in blood-red light as he stared at Gu Fei. Seeing Man Yao's current appearance, Gu Fei was startled. Man Yao's eyes had turned blood-red. It was a soul-shaking sight. Man Yao's aura became incomparably violent. Die! Man Yao roared and charged towards Gu Fei in a frenzy. So what? Gu Fei punched out with the 5 elemental fist. The power of the 5 elements burst out from his fists and collided with Man Yao's halberd, producing metallic clangs. Man Yao's battle prowess rose to a level that even Gu Fei had to pay attention to. Gu Fei was curious. What did Man Yao eat to increase his battle prowess in an instant? It must be something good. However, Gu Fei was still fearless. He unleashed his 5 elemental fist force and fought Man Yao with his fists. When the crowd saw this, they were all shocked. No one could have imagined that there would be such a powerful person in the Black Mountain tribe. Who is this guy? The Heaven Shaman priest was also shocked when he saw the 2 figures fighting in the sky. One should know that Man Yao was a half-step divine king. Man Yao ate something that could increase his potential. At this moment, his battle prowess was comparable to a divine king. This guy could fight with Man Yao endlessly. Could he be a god king? The celestial shaman priest's mind raced. Chapter 49-21. Ever since Gu Fei came to this world, this was the first time he met an expert like Man Yao. When this fellow went crazy, his combat power wasn't bad. Moreover, when this fellow went crazy, it was even easier to deal with him. When Gu Fei fought, not only did he devour the surrounding heaven and earth spirit energy, but he also devoured his opponent's essence energy. The more he fought, the stronger he got. However, his opponent got weaker and weaker. As the battle went on, Gu Fei would naturally emerge as the victor. As Gu Fei refined the heaven and earth spirit energy in this world for his own use, his sealed power was constantly awakening. This was the result of Gu Fei assimilating with this world. He gradually gained the recognition of this world, and his power would recover. Of course, if his power was strong enough to ignore the Void Realm's heaven and earth laws, then he wouldn't need to care about them. The Void Realm's heaven and earth laws wouldn't be able to suppress him. At this moment, two figures were moving rapidly in the air. Muffled sounds of collisions could be heard. Vast essence energy ripples spread out from the sky. Near the Black Mountain tribe, sand and stones were blown everywhere. The Black Mountain tribe hid in their stone houses and didn't dare to come out. Bang! Gu Fei sent Man Yao flying with another punch. At this moment, faint Tao patterns started to appear around his body. That was the sign of his power awakening. This was just the first Tao pattern. 9 returned to 1. Gu Fei had cultivated 9 of the most primitive Tao patterns, and each Tao pattern represented one of the most primitive powers. He was evolving his own Tao. If he could condense all 9 Tao patterns on his body, then the power that was suppressed by this world would be awakened. This was a sword-shaped Tao pattern. It represented the sword Tao that Gu Fei cultivated. The sword Tao was an offensive Tao. As long as one had a sword in hand, one sword could break all laws. It was incomparably powerful. Just as Gu Fei was condensing the sword Tao pattern, some of the godly spirits that cultivated the sword Tao were instantly stunned. That was because their swords were actually vibrating. Especially Xiaoya. Previously, when Gu Fei killed the barbarian sovereign Zanvu, he gave her his spoils of war, a bronze sword. At this moment, the bronze sword in Xiaoya's hand began to tremble, as if it was being summoned by something, and was about to fly out of her hand. Xiaoya was very shocked. Her master's sword Tao cultivation was really too powerful. Gu Fei's sword Tao had already been cultivated to the extreme. Although he had only just successfully condensed one of the 9 sword Tao he had cultivated, it already possessed a trace of the 10,000 swords returning to origin aura. Roar! After Man Yao was sent flying by Gu Fei's fist, he immediately roared and charged at Gu Fei. It was as if he didn't know pain. His blood-red eyes were filled with madness and viciousness. This guy. Although Gu Fei wasn't afraid of this guy, especially since he had condensed one of the 9 sword Tao patterns and awakened the power of the sword Tao, he didn't need to be afraid of Man Yao. He used his palm as a sword and slashed at the incoming Man Yao. An extremely sharp sword light immediately rushed out of his hand and slashed at Man Yao's head. Man Yao roared and waved the halberd in his hand to sweep at the sword light. Clang! The sound of metal colliding echoed. Man Yao was sent flying by Gu Fei's attack, and a sword mark appeared on the halberd in his hand. It was as if it had been slashed by a real peerless divine sword. However, after Man Yao ate the thing in the small bottle, his entire person changed. It seemed like he only knew how to fight and kill the people in front of him. He seemed to be unable to feel anything else. He completely ignored the shocking battle strength displayed by Gu Fei and immediately attacked Gu Fei. Violent energy burst out of his body, and rays of blood light circled around him. You're courting death! Gu Fei didn't hold back anymore. 9 swords exterminating the heavens! He separated his hands in front of him, and 9 rays of sword light immediately appeared around him. The rays of sword light turned into 9 sword shadows, and each ray of sword light gave off a shocking ripple of sword chi. Roar! Man Yao was still madly attacking Gu Fei. Go! Gu Fei waved his hands, and in the next moment, the 9 sword lights around him pierced towards Man Yao like 9 rainbows. Clang! The sound of metal colliding echoed. The 9 sword shadows danced around Man Yao, and chilling sword chi spread out. The temperature of the void dropped rapidly under the impact of the sword chi. Even the gods who had retreated far away and were scared out of their wits could still feel the sword energy coming towards them, giving them a creepy feeling as if a sharp blade was pressed against their throats. These so-called godly spirits had no choice but to retreat even further away. At this moment, Man Yao waved the wind-fire halberd in his hand and actually blocked the 9 sword lights. To Gu Fei, this was simply a miracle. The 9 sky execution swords was Gu Fei's trump card. However, very quickly, Gu Fei's 9 sword lights broke through Man Yao's defense. One sword light directly pierced through Man Yao's left shoulder, and brought out a cloud of blood mist. After being hit, Man Yao couldn't block Gu Fei's sword lights at all. In the next moment, a cloud of blood mist rushed out of Man Yao's body. The 9 sword lights continuously pierced through his body, and he howled miserably as he fell from the sky. Boom! Man Yao directly smashed a large pit in the ground. A large halberd fell from the sky and directly stabbed into the ground not far away. Damn, third master lost! The godly spirits that saw this scene were stunned. They immediately turned around and wanted to escape. However, Gu Fei waved his right hand and directly swept his sword towards these so-called godly spirits that were hiding and watching the show. Where the sword light passed, more than a dozen godly spirits were directly killed and turned into a cloud of blood mist. The sky once again started to rain blood, and the smell of blood in the void became even thicker. I said that today, I will kill a god. Gu Fei placed his hands behind his back and walked down from the sky step by step. You! At this moment, the heaven shaman priest was already stunned. This guy is too amazing. He actually defeated Man Yao and killed so many godly spirits. Is he really not afraid of the barbarian sovereign? The barbarian sovereign's strength was indescribable. Back then, the barbarian sovereign fought with the shaman sovereign for 10 days and 10 nights, directly destroying the mountains within 1,000 miles. The impact of that battle was far-reaching. The shaman sovereign was defeated and then retired. The barbarian sovereign became the sovereign of South Barbarian. Because of this, the shaman sovereign lost his right to rule South Barbarian. Even though Gu Fei defeated Man Yao, in the eyes of the heaven shaman priest, it didn't mean that Gu Fei could challenge the barbarian sovereign. One should know that there was no comparison between the barbarian sovereign and Man Yao. The barbarian sovereign was an invincible sovereign, while Man Yao was only a half-step divine king. You're awake? Gu Fei wasn't surprised to see the heaven shaman priest. You killed Man Yao? Although the heaven shaman didn't have a good impression of Man Yao, killing Man Yao would cause a huge problem. After all, Man Yao was the son of the barbarian sovereign. The barbarian sovereign would probably go crazy if he killed the son of the barbarian sovereign. Who said that I killed him? Gu Fei smiled. Go and drag that guy over. Gu Fei ordered the old shaman. This? The old shaman hesitated. Gu Fei looked at the old shaman with a sharp gaze. Yes, Lord God. The old shaman accepted the order with a trembling voice. Don't call me Lord God from now on, call me Master. Gu Fei said. Yes, God. Ah, Master. The old shaman left, and called Shan Kui to bring a dozen of his men to capture Man Yao. You're really not afraid of the barbarian sovereign? The heaven shaman priest found it hard to imagine that this guy dared to come to southern barbarian at such a young age and offend the barbarian sovereign. Even the descendants of the top powers wouldn't dare to do such a thing. There's no one in this world that I'm afraid of, Gu Fei said confidently. What a big tone. The heaven shaman priest was speechless. What? I heard that you heaven shaman have a rule. Gu Fei suddenly looked at the heaven shaman priest with a smile that wasn't a smile. I don't know what you're talking about. The heaven shaman priest's face suddenly revealed a trace of shyness. You really don't know? Ha ha. Gu Fei laughed. At this time, Shan Kui and the others walked in from the outside with a person in their arms. This person was covered in blood and mud. He looked extremely miserable. Man Yao, who was acting high and mighty and wanted to destroy the Black Mountain tribe, was now like a dead dog. He couldn't even stand up and had to be carried by others. Seeing Gu Fei, Man Yao was so excited that he vomited blood. Gu Fei didn't waste time talking to this guy. He grabbed Man Yao's head and read his memories. Humph. Gu Fei let go of Man Yao, but his expression wasn't good because this Man Yao wasn't a kind person. This guy actually used a living person to practice his technique. Let me go, or you're dead. Man Yao didn't believe that this guy would dare to kill him because he was the third son of the barbarian sovereign. Let you go. Gu Fei looked at Man Yao and said to Shan Kui, Let him go. Yes, master. Shan Kui's 2 subordinates who were holding Man Yao on both sides let go of him. This guy laid on the ground like a dead dog. Even if I let you go, you won't be able to crawl out of here. Gu Fei mocked. You! Man Yao almost fainted. He was the third son of the barbarian sovereign, and everything had been smooth ever since he was born. When had he ever been in such a pathetic state? If looks could kill, Gu Fei would have died many times. Drag him out and kill him, Gu Fei said to Shan Kuei. What? Everyone was dumbfounded. Kill Man Yao? That was the third master of the barbarian sovereign city, the son of the barbarian sovereign. Killing him would be irreversible. You dare? My father will kill your entire family. Man Yao was still stubborn. Swish! Gu Fei pointed his finger and a ray of sword energy shot out, piercing Man Yao's head. Everyone was shocked. Man Yao didn't expect that Gu Fei would really kill him. His face was filled with fear, it was frozen on his face. Man Yao is dead? Even the heaven shaman priest was shocked. He really pierced the sky. Chapter 49:22. Gu Fei actually killed the third son of the barbarian emperor, Man Yao, in front of everyone. This caused everyone to turn into statues. This. The old priest was almost scared to death. Even though this fellow was despicable, even though he came to the Black Mountain tribe aggressively, and wanted to kill everyone, the old priest really didn't want this fellow to die. Because this fellow was the son of the barbarian emperor. But now, this prominent figure was dead. Moreover, he died in the hands of his new master, Gu Fei. The barbarian emperor would definitely be furious, and then, no one dared to imagine what would happen next. Just as Gu Fei killed Man Yao with a finger, in the real royal city of South Man, in an inconspicuous hall within the barbarian royal palace, there was a cracking sound. A jade tablet that was enshrined in the hall suddenly exploded and turned into powder. This scene shocked the guards of the hall. Soon, an angry roar came from the imperial city. Countless living beings in the entire imperial city felt a terrifying pressure erupt from the barbarian imperial palace. Everyone was terrified to the extreme. Barbarian Emperor, is this how you welcome an old friend? Just then, an old voice came from the sky and a figure appeared in the sky. Ghostly Emperor, you old fart! Did you do this? A furious roar came from the royal city. Then, a figure rushed out from the royal city and instantly appeared in the sky, fighting with that person. You're crazy! The ghost emperor was shocked and furious. He retreated immediately. However, the barbarian emperor didn't let him off and chased after him. Barbarian Emperor, you be ****. Do you think I'm afraid of you? The ghostly figure immediately engaged in a great battle with the barbarian emperor. The terrifying aura spread in all directions. Countless living beings were terrified. This was a battle between emperors. Two emperors rushed into the sky and fought in the depths of the starry sky. Otherwise, the entire region would be destroyed and everything would be destroyed. That was because emperors were so powerful and terrifying. They could easily destroy mountains, crush the ground, stop the rivers, overturn the seas, and cause countless living beings to suffer. The news of the battle between the barbarian sovereign and the ghost sovereign spread, shaking the entire void realm and attracting the attention of countless people. The ghost emperor was the emperor of the North Ruins, one of the 5 great regions of the void realm. The North Ruins was the world of the ghost race, and the ghost race was actually a race of ghost cultivators. Abandoning the corporeal body and cultivating the ghost body was the cultivation method of the ghost race. The ghostly emperor appearing in the southern barbaric lands was a very unusual thing. It should be known that these two great forces had never had any dealings. Furthermore, the two monarchs actually started fighting. This was something that could shake the entire void realm. Are you King insane? What does your son's death have to do with me? Ghostly Emperor was incomparably depressed. He had just arrived in South Barbaric and had a fight with Barbaric Emperor. Although he wasn't injured, he wasn't happy to be beaten up for no reason. Let me vent, or else I'll really go crazy. In the starry sky, the two sovereigns stopped. The two of them actually knew each other, and their relationship seemed to be pretty good. If others knew that they were old friends, perhaps everyone's jaws would drop because this was too inconceivable. Who was it that killed my son? Barbaric Emperor really wanted to kill his way back to barbaric Imperial City, but he couldn't leave now because there was a big matter that he couldn't leave. Let's go, we won't be able to get anything if we're late. As Ghostly Emperor spoke, he turned into a ray of black light and instantly disappeared. Barbaric Emperor thought for a moment, gritted his teeth, and chased after Ghostly Emperor. At this moment, as Barbaric Emperor left, the entire palace was in chaos because the life token of Barbaric Emperor's third son was actually broken. There was only one possibility: Barbaric Yao was dead. So headstrong and likes to be in the limelight, not knowing how to endure. In the end, it's all over. In the southern royal palace, a figure stood on the roof of the palace, holding a jar of wine in his hand. He looked at the chaotic palace expressionlessly. Second Prince, Crown Prince requests your presence. At this moment, a figure silently appeared behind this person. He was the second son of Barbaric Emperor, Barbaric Yu. Big brother, why are you looking for me? Barbaric Yu frowned. After that, he raised the jar and gulped down a mouthful of wine before leaping down from the cauldron. The death of Barbaric Emperor's third son, Barbaric Yao, shook the southern barbarian emperor. Countless powers were watching, and many of them were ready to make a move. However, everyone was afraid of Barbaric Emperor, so no one dared to make a move. Very quickly, more than 10 powerful figures left southern royal city and headed straight for barbaric imperial city. Although this barbaric imperial city was located in a remote and desolate area, due to special reasons, it was the second imperial city of southern barbarian. It was impossible for the southern barbarian imperial family to not care about barbaric imperial family's death. Moreover, the southern barbarian imperial family acted very quickly, directly sending experts to barbaric imperial city. The person leading the team was slightly surprised. This person was actually Barbaric Emperor's second son, Barbaric Yu. This caused many people's imaginations to run wild. Some people said that this was because the Crown Prince wanted to eradicate dissidents, so he sent the second prince to his death because the third prince died in barbaric imperial city. Chapter 49-23. The barbarian emperor's city was in chaos. Because the third son of the barbarian emperor was killed in the Black Mountain tribe. When the news spread, the entire barbarian emperor's city fell into a state of panic. The first thought of the rulers of the city wasn't how to avenge Man Yao, but how to survive. Some directly packed their belongings and ran. No one knew when the man who killed Man Yao would suddenly come to the city. That man even dared to kill the third son of the barbarian emperor, let alone them? For a time, the 4 gates of the city were filled with people. Everyone wanted to escape the city at the first moment. In the midst of panic and chaos, many people were trampled to death. And all the tribes in the territory of the barbarian emperor city were in danger, afraid that the Black Mountain tribe would come to kill them. At this time, no one would care about the affairs of the barbarian emperor city. So, when Gu Fei brought his men to barbaric emperor city, the entire city fell into panic and chaos. Some people took advantage of the situation, burning, killing, and looting the city. However, there was a place in the barbarian emperor city that was very peaceful. Even if the outside was in chaos, no one dared to break into this place. And this place was the Heaven Witch Palace. This was the residence of the Heaven Witch Palace. Even if there were no guards, the people of the barbarian emperor city wouldn't dare to break in. At this time, the Heaven Witch priests returned to the Heaven Witch Palace. Then, the people of the Heaven Witch Palace started to move. They quickly took control of the entire city. Even the red armor guards of the third son of the barbarian emperor had no choice but to listen to the Heaven Witch Palace. The combat strength of the red armor guards was unquestionable. They directly swept through the entire barbarian emperor city. Those who caused trouble in the city were all killed by the red armor guards. The chaotic situation was under control, and Gu Fei directly entered the city lord's mansion. With Gu Fei's strength, he quickly took control of the city lord's mansion. He then ordered people to hang the corpse of the third son of the barbarian emperor in the square outside the city lord's mansion. This Man Yao really deserved to die. Gu Fei read Man Yao's memory and knew what kind of person he was. This guy actually used living people to practice his evil technique. Seeing Man Yao's corpse hanging outside the city lord's mansion, everyone in the city was shocked to the extreme. Submit or die! Gu Fei's voice wasn't loud, but it spread throughout the entire city. The 4 god spirits started attacking. Those who didn't submit were killed by the god spirits led by Tian Yuan, especially Man Yao's subordinates. In fact, Tian Yuan and the others wanted to get rid of the Scarlet Armor Guards, but the Sky Magus Palace had stepped forward to protect the Scarlet Armor Guards. Even Tian Yuan and the others did not dare to go against the Sky Magus Palace. Little girl from the Heaven Witch Palace, what is the meaning of this? Gu Fei directly came to the Heavenly Witch Palace to demand an explanation. Chick? When those people who were taking refuge in the Heaven Witch Palace heard Gu Fei's words, they were all stunned. Who would dare to be impudent in the Heaven Witch Palace? If it wasn't for the fact that the people from the Sky Witch Palace allowed them to enter, to be honest, no one would dare to enter the Sky Witch Palace to seek refuge. Fellow Taoist, how about giving me some face? The Heaven Magus priest's voice came from the main hall of the Heaven Magus Palace. If you talk any more, I'll take you back to warm my bed, Gu Fei said loudly. The voice in the hall immediately disappeared. Lord Heaven Magus, this. Within the main hall of the Heaven Magus Palace, the Heaven Magus priest sat on her throne with a hat covering her face. The servant beside her felt indignant but helpless at the same time. Because that fellow outside was truly a man. He even dared to kill the third son of the barbarian emperor. What else did he not dare to do? If you don't submit, then die. Gu Fei swept his gaze across those nobles in the courtyard in front of the main hall. There were truly many people in the courtyard. The leaders of the 3 great clans were all here. Mo clan's clan head, Xian clan's clan head, and Wu clan's clan head were all here. Everyone was looking at the 3 clan heads. Kill the 3 of them, Gu Fei directly ordered. Yes, master. Tian Yuan directly stepped forward and was about to act. This lowly one is willing to submit. The Mo clan's clan head was so frightened that he knelt on the ground and begged Gu Fei for mercy. Humph! Old Mo, you coward! This daddy is ashamed to be associated with you. The Xian clan's clan head roared at the Mo clan's clan head. You're not cowardly. You're awesome! You're amazing! Tian Yuan said as he punched towards the Xian clan's clan head. The Xian clan's clan head also punched out. As the Xian clan's clan head, how could he not be capable? Boom! 2 fists instantly collided. Tian Yuan was actually forced to take a few steps back. As for the Xian clan's clan head, he was unmoving like a mountain. It was clear who was superior. The ripples of essence chi caused the surrounding people to stumble and look extremely pathetic. You have some ability. No wonder you're not cowardly. Gu Fei looked at the Xian clan's clan head calmly and said, Brat, if a tiger doesn't show its prowess, do you think I'm a sick cat? The Xian clan's clan head struck out a fist stance. Powerful essence chi ripples exploded from his body. The surrounding people were all shocked. Sigh! Gu Fei let out a sigh. Eat my fist! The Xian clan's clan head said as he exerted strength in his legs and pounced towards Gu Fei. His right fist smashed towards Gu Fei's head with lightning speed. Scram! Gu Fei's slap flew towards the Xian clan's clan head. Pa! It was a ruthless slap to the face. The Xian clan's clan head was sent flying. Boom! He smashed through the wall and fell outside. Acting cool in front of me? You're asking for death. Gu Fei stood with his hands behind his back and said indifferently. Everyone was stunned by Gu Fei's move. I'm willing to submit. The Wu clan's clan head also knelt towards Gu Fei. Do you know that you're being insincere? Gu Fei glanced at them and said. This? The Wu clan's clan head and the Mo clan's clan head were both shocked and furious. How about this? How about you destroy the Xian clan now? Gu Fei thought about it and said. Yes, master! The Wu clan's and Mo clan's clan heads quickly accepted the order. Then, the Xian clan became history in barbarian Emperor City. The two clans acted against the Xian clan at the same time and divided the Xian clan's territory. This was a good thing for the two clans. You think you'll be fine just by hiding here? Gu Fei didn't put the Sky Witch Palace in his eyes. He directly killed the commanders of the Red Armor Guards and replaced them with people from the two clans. With Gu Fei's thunderous methods, he quickly gained control of the entire barbarian Emperor City. Even the priests of the Sky Witch Palace didn't dare to come out and say anything. Actually, many people were watching the Sky Witch Palace. The attitude of the Sky Witch Palace was crucial. Now that even the Sky Witch Palace didn't say anything, tacitly agreeing to Gu Fei occupying the barbarian Emperor City, what else could the others say? In less than a day, the barbarian Emperor City changed its master. When the second son of the barbarian Emperor, Man Yu, brought his men to the barbarian Emperor City, the sky had already changed. Over a dozen powerful figures descended from the sky and landed on the plaza in front of the city lord's residence. The sunset was like blood, and the air was still filled with a faint smell of blood. It's the third prince. Someone immediately recognized the corpse of the third son of the barbarian emperor hanging on the flagpole. Too much. An old man rushed up, cut the rope, and put the corpse of the third son of the barbarian sovereign down. Little thief, come out and receive your death. Another middle-aged man walked towards the great hall. He was enraged, and his voice spread far and wide. Almost half of the people in the city heard it. What happened? It's from the city lord's residence. Could it be that the barbarian emperor has arrived? Everyone in the city was shocked. If the barbarian emperor personally arrived, that lunatic from the Black Mountain tribe would definitely die. Swish! What responded to this middle-aged man was an arrow. A sharp arrow shot out from the great hall. The speed was so fast that even the middle-aged man didn't have time to dodge. Pooh! That middle-aged man was directly shot, and his entire body was sent flying. He was sent flying tens of feet away by the arrow before he was nailed to the wall, and no longer had any signs of life. What? Everyone was shocked. No one expected that they had just arrived at the barbarian Emperor City, and they hadn't even seen the enemy, and they had already lost a person. Damn it! Impudent! Damn it! Man Yu's underlings roared in anger as they drew their weapons and stared at the open door of the great hall with vigilance. Scram back to where you came from, or you will end up like that guy. A voice came from the great hall. How dare you? Do you know who you are talking to? An old servant beside Man Yu said angrily. I don't care who he is. I even dared to kill Man Yao. Do you think I'm afraid of you? What a joke. The voice from the great hall continued. What? Everyone's expression changed. Kill! Man Yu ordered. Boom! 13 experts leaped up at the same time and pounced towards the great hall. Powerful yuan qi rippled out, and the spiritual qi of heaven and earth became chaotic. Murderous intent surged. Just when the guy at the front was about to kill his way into the great hall, he seemed to have suddenly collided with an invisible wall and was sent flying. Moreover, his head was bleeding, and he fell to the ground. He slid on the ground for a distance before he stopped. He couldn't stand up for a while. When the others saw this, they hurriedly stopped. However, some people couldn't stop and couldn't control their momentum. Then, as if they had hit a transparent wall, they were sent flying. What's going on? In this way, everyone couldn't remain calm. At this moment, Man Yu, the second son of the barbarian emperor, silently retreated. Bang! Boom! A group of people attacked with all their might. Waves of yuan qi blasted into the void, and transparent ripples spread out from the void. At this moment, these experts from the southern imperial city discovered that the entire Great Hall was actually enveloped by a layer of transparent energy. How are we going to fight? Everyone's heart turned cold. No one thought that the person who killed Third Master would be so powerful. One should know that there were real divine kings among these people. Even divine kings were blocked. This was truly unimaginable. A bunch of trash dares to take revenge for Man Yao? Chapter 49-24. Man Yu came. Although Man Yu reeked of alcohol like a profligate son, he was decisive in killing and directly ordered his men to kill Gu Fei. However, an unbelievable scene appeared. The 13 experts under Man Yu's command were actually unable to break into the barbarian Emperor City's city governor estate, and they were obstructed by a formidable shapeless force. When Man Yu saw this, he silently retreated. Among the 13 experts, the leader was a general. His name was Jin Xiao, and he was an expert of the southern imperial city's Jin family. He was a God King expert. Who is that? Could it be that he killed Third Master? Seeing someone walking out of the hall, the 13 experts stopped and landed in front of the hall, staring at that person. Just a bunch of trash. The person who walked out of the hall was Gu Fei. He glanced at the 13 experts and said indifferently, "What?" Jin Xiao was furious. The people behind him were also furious. This guy actually dared to say that they were trash? The Jin clan of the southern imperial city was not a small force. They were the trusted aides of the barbarian emperor. Jin Zhao's position in the Jin clan wasn't low either because he was a divine king expert. He was originally Third Master Man Yao's man. Now that Man Yao was dead, he naturally had to choose another side. The consequences of choosing the wrong side was very serious. Although Second Master seemed to be an ignorant and incompetent profligate son, he had placed his bet on Second Master. Because First Master Man Xiong had always been suppressing the Jin clan. There's a formation here. The defensive formation of the mansion has been activated. Jin Xiao stared at Gu Fei, who was standing in the hall, and said coldly, "TSK, so that's the case. Do you dare to come out and fight?" A black-clothed middle-aged man behind Jin Xiao stared at Gu Fei and said in disdain, "Why wouldn't I dare?" Gu Fei directly walked out from behind the door. "There's a path to heaven, but you don't want to take it. You want to barge into hell yourself." The black-clothed middle-aged man laughed sinisterly. "TSK, you guys think too highly of yourselves." Gu Fei shook his head in disdain. "Boss Jin, how about giving this guy to me?" The black-clothed middle-aged man said to Jin Xiao. "All right. Let's see what Uncle Hua can do then." As Jin Xiao spoke, he retreated with the others. At this moment, Uncle Hua's aura changed. This person had a stern aura, and there was a hideous scar on his face that stretched from his forehead to his chin. His gaze was fierce and sinister. "Hee, little fellow, how do you want to die?" Uncle Hua was very confident because he was a low-level God King. He was several times stronger than the half-step God King Man Yao. Moreover, Uncle Hua's soul-shattering palm was one of the best. "Sigh. I wanted to keep a low profile, but there's always someone who won't let me." Gu Fei sighed. "You!" Uncle Hua was so angry that he laughed. This brat actually dared to underestimate him. He really deserved to die. "Hurry up and make your move. Otherwise, you won't have the chance to make your move once I make my move," Gu Fei said impatiently. "Is that guy crazy?" High up in the sky, the Heaven Witch shaman came out to watch the show again. She had a strange feeling about Gu Fei, and she always wanted to see him. She even suspected that she was sick. She had never cared about someone so much since she was young. "Little fellow, you sure talk big." Uncle Hua laughed sinisterly. He stomped his right foot on the ground, and his entire body shot towards Gu Fei like an arrow. He extended his right hand and slapped Gu Fei's chest. "Sigh! Boring!" Gu Fei casually waved his right hand and deflected Uncle Hua's palm strike to the side. Then, he performed a heart-piercing kick with his right leg. The tip of his foot ruthlessly kicked Uncle Hua's heart. In the next moment, Uncle Hua let out a blood-curdling scream and was sent flying. When he landed on the ground, he was already dead. Everyone looked and saw that Uncle Hua's heart had caved in. It seemed that his heart had been crushed by Yi Futian's kick. In fact, a crushed heart would not kill Uncle Hua. However, Gu Fei's kick was different. Not only did it crush Uncle Hua's heart, but it also shattered his primordial spirit. This Uncle Hua could not even be a ghost anymore. When everyone caught sight of this, they were astounded to the extreme. To think that this fella could kick a celestial king to death with a single kick. What were they to do now? Among the 13 of them, only Uncle Hua, Boss Jean, and the one-armed swordsman Qiu Qianjian were there. The rest were either half-step divine kings or heavenly gods. Boss Jean, you go! Everyone retreated at the same time. You guys! Jean Shao stood at the front alone. He was speechless. These fellas were not reliable at all. Boss Jean, only you are his opponent now, Qiu Qianjian said. Damn you, Qiu Qianjian! Why don't you change your name to Qiu Qianjian? Jean Shao pointed his middle finger at Qiu Qianjian behind him. Ha ha! The others burst into laughter. You're not bad. I'll play with you then, Gu Fei said as he took a step forward and arrived at the center of the square in an instant. Play? Be careful, or you'll lose your life. Jean Shao also took a step forward and appeared in front of Gu Fei in an instant. His heavenly skill of Black Tortoise had been cultivated to the 7th level. His body was invulnerable and only divine weapons could hurt him. He was simply a human-shaped killing machine. Humph! Gu Fei did not say anything. He pushed off with both feet and dashed towards Jean Shao. Behind him, a cloud of dust rose and a piercing sound was heard. The surrounding experts who saw this scene were all shocked to the extreme. This fella! Even Jean Zhao's expression changed at this moment. He became extremely solemn. In the next moment, the sound of something tearing through the air could be heard. Black arrows pierced through the sky and shot towards Gu Fei like raindrops. Humph! Gu Fei sneered. He waved his hands and the countless arrows were immediately deflected away. They couldn't even touch the corner of his clothes. The Scarlet Guards had actually betrayed Gu Fei, because the people who were shooting arrows at Gu Fei from the high walls surrounding the plaza were the Scarlet Guards. Some of the arrows were deflected back, injuring and killing more than a dozen Red Armor Guards standing on top of the wall. Kill! A general immediately ordered the Red Armor Guards. The Red Armor Guards on top of the wall jumped down and charged towards Gu Fei. Set up the formation! The general roared. In the next moment, dozens of blood-red shields were erected by the Red Armor Guards. They formed a shield formation in front of them and advanced towards Gu Fei. Ha ha! I'll kill to my heart's content today! Gu Fei laughed heartily as he charged at the incoming Scarlet Guards. When Gu Fei reached them, dozens of spears suddenly pierced towards Gu Fei through the gaps between the shields. The spears in the hands of the Red Armor Guards were made of fine iron and could pierce through steel. However, Gu Fei completely ignored the sharpness of the spears and rammed head-on into them. Boom! With a loud bang, dozens of shields were smashed into smithereens. The shield-wielding scarlet-armored battle soldiers screamed as they were sent flying. The sharp spears did not even leave a mark on Gu Fei's body. Chapter 49-25. When the second son of the barbarian emperor, Man Yu, led his men to the barbarian emperor city, the Red Armor Guards that had surrendered to Gu Fei betrayed Gu Fei and attacked the City Lord Mansion at the most crucial moment. On the square in front of the City Lord Mansion, Gu Fei killed his way into the battle formation of the Red Armor Guards all by himself. On the walls around the square, everyone who saw this scene could no longer be described as shocked. This Gu Fei actually fought against thousands of Red Armor Guards all by himself? The Red Armor Guards were an elite army that was formed by warriors. They were well trained, and 3,000 Red Armor warriors were enough to kill a real god. Even a divine king would have a headache when facing a battle formation of 5,000 Red Armor Guards. In the Void Realm, only the invincible emperor would be unafraid of an army. If a divine king encountered an army, it would be fine if it was a small army, but if it was an army of tens of thousands, they would have to kneel. One must know that a general who could command an army of tens of thousands was a divine king. The commander of the 5,000 Red Armor Guards was a half-step divine king, and the 3 deputy commanders were peak heavenly gods. Who was Gu Fei? He naturally knew how terrifying an army was. Those immortal dynasties in the mortal world had millions of troops. Such a force, even immortals would have to kneel in front of them. Although there were only 5,000 red armor guards in the barbarian emperor city, it was enough to sweep through the entire barbarian emperor city. Even the strongest tribe in the barbarian emperor city wouldn't dare to go to war with them. But now, Gu Fei had killed his way into this army. With a sweep of his hand, a dazzling saber light shot out from his hand, reaching a height of 10 feet in an instant. The dozens of crimson-armored warriors in front of him were sliced in half. With a backhand slap, he sent another dozen or so crimson-armored warriors flying. Then, he leaped into the air and stomped another crimson-armored warrior into the ground. Gu Fei was like a tiger in a flock of sheep. With a wave of his hand, a large number of red armor warriors were either killed or injured. In just a few seconds, hundreds of red armor warriors were killed by him. At this moment, the leader of the red-armored warriors was truly scared out of his wits. He had never seen such a powerful person who could actually fight against an entire army by himself. Could it be that he was an emperor? Retreat! Hurry up and retreat! The commander of the red-armored warriors immediately gave the order to retreat. How were they supposed to fight against this guy? This guy was invulnerable. Even when swords, spears, swords, and halberds hit him, they couldn't even leave a mark on him. It's too late. Go to hell! Gu Fei roared and charged towards the commander. Wherever he passed, he was like a stampede of an ancient elephant. All the crimson-armored warriors in his way were sent flying. Those red-armored warriors who were sent flying by Gu Fei were either dead or injured. Countless of them were lying on the ground, screaming in pain. As for Gu Fei, he directly rushed up to the leader of the crimson-armored battle troopers. With a swing of his hand, the crimson-armored battle trooper's head flew into the air. Gu Fei was like a peerless god of death that had descended into the world. In less than a dozen breaths' time, he had actually slaughtered an army of 5,000 people. This caused the eyes of the one-armed swordsman Qiu Qianjian and the other 11 experts to almost fall out of their sockets. They looked at this scene in disbelief. Run! Seeing that Gu Fei had killed their commander and that the crimson-armored battle troopers were defeated, the remaining battle troopers were scared out of their wits and immediately fled in all directions. Gu Fei fiercely took a deep breath. All the primordial energy in his body surged like a raging sea. Powerful primordial energy rippled out from his body, causing the surrounding sand and stones to fly and the sun and moon to dim. 9 heaven-punishing swords! 9 heaven-punishing swords! Gu Fei exhaled and shouted. In the next moment, a torrential storm of sword chi rushed out from his body and slashed in all directions. The crimson-armored battle troopers that were fleeing in all directions all fell to the ground with scarlet blood splattering from their bodies. With Gu Fei at the center, everything within a radius of 100 meters seemed to have been blown by a storm. It was a mess, and the ground was covered in sword slashes. Gu Fei's attack had directly killed off most of the crimson-armored battle troopers. There was no one left alive within 100 meters of him. The 9 heaven-punishing swords was an extreme way technique. Its might was naturally extremely shocking. Run! Qiu Qianjian was the first to turn around and flee. This guy's way of the sword was far above his own. If he stayed, he would be courting death. Since he, a God King Sword King, had fled, the others naturally did not dare to stay. However, Gu Fei did not plan on letting them go. Also, where had the young man who had ordered to kill him disappeared? Gu Fei did not stop. He directly charged towards the fleeing Qiu Qianjian and the others. He killed his way out of the square, out of the city lord's residence, and out of the streets. This guy is too crazy. High up in the sky, the heaven shaman priest and his maidservant were stunned when they saw this scene. Gu Fei had single-handedly defeated 5,000 crimson-armored battle troopers. He had also killed the experts that Man Yu had brought with him. Gu Fei had killed Jin Shao with a single finger. Moreover, he had single-handedly defeated 5,000 crimson-armored battle troopers. After the news spread, the barbarian emperor city was instantly in an uproar. Everyone was shocked to the extreme. Who would have thought, Master is actually so powerful? The Wu family patriarch and Mo family patriarch who rushed over after hearing the news were stunned. The last move that Gu Fei had displayed was definitely an extremely overbearing killing move. Even the Heaven Shaman priest had never seen such an overbearing killing move. Very quickly, Gu Fei killed his way out of the barbarian emperor city, leaving behind many corpses along the way. He chased and killed all the remaining crimson-armored battle troopers. Among the 11 experts that came with Qiu Qianjian, 5 of them died in his hands. Gu Fei had been chasing Qiu Qianjian and the others all the way to a stronghold 10 miles away. This stronghold wasn't small. It was the place where a tribe was located. This tribe was called the Heaven Fire Tribe. The Heaven Fire Tribe was located in the mountains. At this time, there should have been smoke rising from the chimneys of the tribe. But now, the entire stronghold was very quiet, so quiet that it was frightening. The Heaven Fire Tribe was a tribe that one had to pass through in order to reach the barbarian emperor city. This tribe was originally controlled by Man Yao's forces, but now that Man Yao had been killed by Gu Fei, this tribe seemed to be in trouble. Gu Fei saw that outside the entrance of the stronghold, there were more than 10 corpses hanging on the trees on both sides. A gust of wind blew, and these corpses immediately swayed. These corpses hanging on the trees should be the people of the Heaven Fire Tribe. The stronghold of the Heaven Fire Tribe had become an empty stronghold? Someone had driven away all the people of the Heaven Fire Tribe. Bam! As soon as Gu Fei entered the stronghold, he was attacked. With a backhand palm, he pushed back an old man with white hair and beard. The old man held his chest and staggered, a trace of blood seeping out of the corner of his mouth. Sneak attack me? You must be tired of living. Gu Fei stared at the old man and said coldly. Humph! I didn't expect so many experts to be hidden in such a small tribe. Gu Fei looked around and saw one figure after another coming out of the stronghold. Each of them had a powerful fluctuation of yuan qi. The old man stared coldly at Gu Fei and said indifferently, I also didn't expect that the person who chased after my young master would be so young. Elder Xian, this person killed your entire family. Why are you still talking nonsense with him? At this time, from the corner in front, a young man in black walked out. He looked drunk and carried a jar of wine in his hand. This person was the second son of the barbarian emperor, Man Yu. Young master, this guy is not simple. The old man called Elder Xian said. Aren't you talking nonsense? If he was simple, then I wouldn't need to use all of you, Man Yu said angrily. At this moment, the one-armed swordsman, Qiu Qianjian, appeared behind Gu Fei. So you're the fish that escaped the net from the barbarian emperor city's Xian clan. Gu Fei looked at the old man and said, Humph! Little fellow, die! The old man snorted coldly, and then he attacked Gu Fei. At the same time, the one-armed swordsman, Qiu Qianjian, who was behind Gu Fei, made his move. He pulled out the ancient sword on his back and stabbed it at Gu Fei's back. Qiu Qianjian's sword was very fast and accurate. At the moment when the tip of Qiu Qianjian's sword was about to touch Gu Fei moved to the side, took a step forward, and directly punched at Elder Xian. Bam! Kacha! Gu Fei's fist smashed onto Elder Xian's chest from an inconceivable angle, and the sound of bones breaking resounded. The clothes on Elder Xian's back were instantly blasted apart, and a fist mark appeared on his body. His entire chest caved in, and his chest was pressed against his back. At this moment, Elder Xian's expression instantly became extremely terrified. He looked at Gu Fei as if he had seen a ghost, and his face was filled with disbelief. You! Elder Xian wanted to say something, but at this moment, a strand of blood surged up his throat. In the end, he couldn't say his last words, and he fell straight down. Man Yu's pupils couldn't help but constrict when he saw this scene. At this moment, Qiu Qianjian couldn't help but turn pale with fright when he saw Gu Fei kill Elder Xian with a single punch, and he hurriedly withdrew his sword and retreated. Can't even withstand a single blow! Gu Fei shook his head. Being invincible is so lonely. Attack together and exhaust him to death! Man Yu directly ordered. Kill! Countless experts in the stronghold immediately attacked Gu Fei like a tide. These people were all Man Yu's subordinates. He pretended to be a profligate young master and frequently lingered in places of pleasure, but he was secretly cultivating his own forces. In order to ensure that nothing goes wrong, Man Yu had secretly brought his trusted subordinates to the barbarian emperor city. He wanted to take advantage of this opportunity to take over barbarian emperor city and become the local tyrant. However, no one had expected that Gu Fei was actually so strong. He didn't fear any opponent, and he even chased Qiu Qianjian and the others all the way here by himself. "Come at me!" Gu Fei shouted loudly, and he actually directly killed his way into the crowd. Seeing how brave Gu Fei was, the second son of barbarian emperor, Man Yu, quietly retreated. Chapter 49-26. Kill! In the Heaven Fire tribe, following Man Yu's order, countless experts in the surroundings didn't hesitate. They immediately roared and charged at Gu Fei from all directions. Humph! Gu Fei indifferently glanced at these guys. In the next moment, his right foot stomped on the ground. Bang! The ground under his foot immediately shattered. At the same time, he rushed forward like an arrow. Bang! Gu Fei directly collided with a tall and sturdy guy who was the first to rush over. In the next moment, that guy was directly sent flying by the violent impact. Sounds of bones breaking could be heard from his body. Bang! He directly smashed through a stone house like a cannonball. The stone house collapsed, and that guy was buried under the rubble. No one knew whether he was dead or alive. What? The other experts were all shocked when they saw this. At this moment, Gu Fei was like a fierce tiger that had entered a flock of sheep. With a palm, he smashed the head of an expert into his chest. With a shoulder strike, another expert was directly sent flying while vomiting blood. It seemed that he wouldn't be able to survive. Then, he stretched out his hand and grabbed a saber. With a flash of the saber, 2 heads flew. Then, he swept his right leg and directly kicked 2 experts, breaking their tendons and bones. It seemed that they weren't far from death. In just an instant, with just a few flicks of his fingers, Gu Fei killed 4 experts and heavily injured 2 others. In addition to the one who died with a single punch, there were already 7 experts who had died in Gu Fei's hands. This time, Man Yu brought a lot of people. Moreover, these subordinates of Man Yu were at least at the divine spirit realm, and the strongest ones were even divine kings. However, in front of Gu Fei, these guys were really too weak. Originally, he thought that he could meet a few experts to play with. Who would have thought that they couldn't even withstand 1 or 2 of his moves? This kind of one-sided massacre made Gu Fei somewhat unhappy. At this time, Gu Fei was still holding the saber that was still dripping blood, coldly looking at Man Yu who was retreating. This guy. Everyone else was stunned by Gu Fei's bravery. They were all scared silly by this scene. No wonder this fellow dared to kill Man Yu. No wonder he dared to go against the barbarian sovereign. He's truly capable. He's too strong. This group of people were death warriors nurtured by Man Yu, and they only listened to Man Yu's orders. The expert in the lead was called Tu Xiangshan. He stared fixedly at Gu Fei, and his pupils couldn't help but contract. The battle prowess displayed by Gu Fei had far exceeded his expectations. Come and die! Gu Fei crooked his finger at Tu Xiangshan and said coldly. A cold killing intent emanated from his body, and the surrounding temperature quickly dropped. What a strong killing intent! Tu Xiangshan was once again shocked. Only those devils who were numb to killing could erupt with such a powerful killing intent. This guy was too young. Even though he was shocked, he wasn't someone to be trifled with. His expression turned cold. In the next moment, he exerted force with his legs and charged towards Gu Fei. At the same time, he stretched out his right hand and slapped towards Gu Fei. Tu Xiangshan's palm actually turned pitch black, and when it arrived before Gu Fei, it was so black that it seemed like ink was about to drip out. Black killing hand? Gu Fei spoke indifferently. This Tu Xiangshan actually cultivated the black killing hand, an evil cultivation technique. No wonder he was able to move unhindered in the barbarian emperor's city for tens of years. Humph! Gu Fei directly slashed with his saber. Clang! The saber in his hand was immediately broken into two. It was actually broken by Tu Xiangshan's strength. After Tu Xiangshan broke the saber in Gu Fei's hand, he continued slapping towards Gu Fei. Gu Fei hurriedly threw away the broken saber in his hand, and then he clenched his fist and smashed it towards Tu Xiangshan's black palm. Bang! Gu Fei's fist instantly collided with Tu Xiangshan's black palm, producing a dull thunder-like sound. A powerful wave of yuan qi immediately spread out in all directions with the two of them as the center. The leaves on the ground were fiercely swept up into the sky and danced in the air. How is this possible? Tu Xiangshan was shocked. Gu Fei could actually block his black killing hand? Roar! Tu Xiangshan bellowed furiously, and an even more powerful black baleful aura erupted from his hand. In the next moment, his entire fist turned black and red in color. This black killing hand was extremely poisonous, and it could corrode a martial artist's muscles, bones, and flesh. If one was hit by Tu Xiangshan's palm, even a divine king would die. Ha ha! You are dead for sure. Tu Xiangshan laughed sinisterly. Humph! Is that so? Gu Fei stared at Tu Xiangshan with a faint smile and said indifferently. This? Tu Xiangshan saw that there was a faint blood qi overflowing from Gu Fei's hand. This time, he was really moved. Gu Fei could actually force out his black killing poison. Tu Xiangshan wanted to activate his black killing hand again, but at this moment, he only felt that the power of Gu Fei's fist was like a volcanic eruption, and it was unstoppable. In the next moment, Tu Xiangshan only heard the sound of bones breaking, and he was directly sent flying. Gu Fei took a step forward, and instantly caught up to Tu Xiangshan, who was flying backwards. Then, he punched out with his fist, and an explosive sound immediately resounded in the air. This was the sound of the fist moving at high speed, and it shook the air. It was enough to show how fast Gu Fei's fist was. Bang! A muffled sound was followed by Tu Xiangshan's miserable scream. With a bang, he actually directly smashed through the wall and fell outside the stronghold. Everyone was stunned by this scene, especially those subordinates of Tu Xiangshan. Tu Xiangshan fiercely stood up from the ground. One could see that his chest was badly mutilated, and someone actually punched through his chest. This? Everyone was indescribably shocked. Just now, Gu Fei's fist had actually directly punched through Tu Xiangshan's body. Punching through the martial body of a warrior at the great success realm of marrow purification, how much power did this require? You! Tu Xiangshan stared at Gu Fei in extreme fear. He wanted to say something, but at this moment, he was unable to say anything. Like an ant! Gu Fei looked indifferently at Tu Xiangshan. After Tu Xiangshan heard this sentence from Gu Fei, his life was completely cut off, and he fell straight down. This time, he could no longer stand up. Even at the moment of his death, he never thought that he would die at the hands of Gu Fei. Attack together, what are you still standing there for? The one-armed swordsman, Qiu Qianjian, shouted loudly, and he himself also attacked Gu Fei. This was a divine king of the way of the sword. Once this guy attacked, sword qi instantly swept across, and it was difficult for others to interfere. However, even though they knew that they were no match for him, they still attacked Gu Fei. Chapter 49-27. In the Heaven Fire tribe, a few miles away from the barbarian emperor city, Gu Fei was fighting against over 100 experts. These experts were the subordinates of the second son of the barbarian emperor, Man Yu. This was an underground force that he had secretly nurtured over the years. Man Yu pretended to be crazy, but he wasn't stupid. He was a profligate son of a rich family that lingered in the brothels for others to see. As the second son of the barbarian emperor, he still had his elder brother, Man Xiong, and Man Xiong's battle achievements were something that he couldn't hope to reach. Man Xiong was the first successor of the barbarian emperor. As for his third brother, Man Yao, he was an arrogant and unruly person. He had many tricks up his sleeves, and Man Yao's influence was much greater than Man Yu's. Under such circumstances, Man Yu could only pretend to be crazy because if he displayed outstanding intelligence, he would probably be suppressed by his elder brother and third brother. It was also because of these years of pretending that Man Yu was able to secretly nurture his own force. At this moment, Man Yu's subordinates attacked Gu Fei like madmen. "Come, I'll send you on your way together." Gu Fei's battle blood was boiling. He punched out, and a violent fist force of the 5 elements burst out from his hand, directly blasting away the 3 experts that were attacking him. The 3 experts coughed up blood in the air and fell to the ground. They slid on the ground for several feet before stopping. Everyone was shocked and furious when they saw Gu Fei being so ferocious. "Sword from the west!" The one-armed swordsman, Qiu Qianjian, roared and attacked with all his strength. The sword in his hand emitted a sword hum, and the resplendent sword light was like a dragon that flew towards Gu Fei. "What sword from the west? I'll send you to the west." Gu Fei simply ignored Qiu Qianjian's sharp sword light. He punched the sword light, and the powerful fist force directly blasted the sword light away. Qiu Qianjian suffered a great impact, and he screamed and retreated. However, Gu Fei followed him like a shadow and punched at Qiu Qianjian again. Gu Fei's fist force was extremely powerful. Even a divine monarch would die if he was hit by it. Qiu Qianjian hurriedly blocked with both hands. Bang! Crack! Gu Fei's punch landed directly on Qiu Qianjian's arms, which he had used to protect himself. In the next moment, the bones in his arms were shattered by the fist force. The sound of bones breaking was clearly transmitted to the ears of the people around them. Qiu Qianjian screamed and was sent flying. At the same time, the other experts also attacked Gu Fei. Gu Fei punched and kicked, sending people flying and killing them one after another. He was like a grim reaper that had emerged from hell, harvesting the lives of the martial arts experts around him. These experts that thought that were very powerful were powerful, but in front of Gu Fei Gu sect. Before long, the surroundings of Gu Fei were littered with corpses. At this time, Gu Fei's body actually emitted a ball of resplendent aura. This guy, Man Yu, who had already quietly retreated far away, was stunned when he saw this scene. This was an underground force that he spent countless efforts to establish. Now, every time Gu Fei killed someone, he felt incomparable heartache. Bang! Boom! Crack! The sound of essence energy colliding and the sound of bones shattering rang out continuously. Wherever Gu Fei passed, no one could contend against him. Not a single one. He directly charged towards the place where Man Yu was. This way, everyone could not sit still anymore. All of them charged towards Gu Fei like crazy. Each move was a method of exchanging life for life. Because if Man Yu was killed, they would all be buried with him. Haha! Are you in a hurry to reincarnate? Gu Fei laughed as he made his move. He grabbed the saber of an expert that was slashing towards him, and then he used force to break it. Then, he stabbed the broken saber into that person's body. At the same time, he kicked out and sent a huge man flying into the crowd. Instantly, there was chaos. Gu Fei made his move swiftly. Then, the unlucky ones were Man Yu's subordinates. They were either dead or injured. Man Yu directly turned around and fled. Where do you think you're going? Gu Fei did his best to charge forward. However, at this moment, a fist silently blasted onto Gu Fei's back. This punch directly caused Gu Fei to fly forward. Go to hell! An expert wielding a saber ruthlessly slashed at Gu Fei, who was pouncing at him. This saber actually ruthlessly slashed onto Gu Fei's body. In the next moment, the saber that slashed onto Gu Fei's body actually rebounded and almost flew out of his hand. What? That expert was quite frightened by this scene. Damn it! Gu Fei was furious. Someone actually plotted against him. When he landed on the ground, he immediately steadied himself. He turned around and saw that the person who sneak attacked him was actually an unremarkable middle-aged man. You actually didn't die after taking a punch from me? That middle-aged man was also shocked. This guy was a peak god king. His great divine fist was extremely powerful. Moreover, the great cold chi was incomparably powerful. Those who were hit by his fist would be directly frozen into an ice sculpture by the great cold chi. Great divine fist, Han Dong? When the one-armed swordsman Qiu Qianjian saw that middle-aged man, his eyes instantly lit up. He didn't expect that even this guy would submit to Man Yu. Kill! At this moment, countless figures once again charged towards Gu Fei. All of you, die for me! Gu Fei became ruthless. He roared furiously and countless incomparably sharp sword chi erupted from his body. In the next moment, countless sword lights rushed out from his body and penetrated in all directions. After that, countless blood mists suddenly appeared. In just an instant, with Gu Fei as the center, everyone within a radius of 60 feet was penetrated by the sword chi. The result of being penetrated by the sword chi was only death. More than half of those who besieged Gu Fei actually collapsed in an instant. When Man Yu, who had fled far away, saw this scene, his heart was dripping blood. He gritted his teeth and directly soared into the sky. If he didn't flee now, he wouldn't be able to escape anymore. An ant is an ant, and you still want to kill a giant dragon? Simply laughable. Gu Fei stood proudly and coldly swept his gaze across the surrounding people. Those who could survive under his great killing move weren't simple. There was a total of 5 people. 5 great god kings. Just thinking about it made one's scalp numb. At this moment, Gu Fei was surrounded by 5 great god kings. The aura that erupted from each god king was extremely tyrannical. Even Gu Fei had no choice but to become serious at this moment. Who exactly are you? Qiu Qianjian held his divine sword and stared at Gu Fei. This guy was so young and so powerful. His background was probably shocking. Why don't the 5 of you follow me? What future do you have by following that Man Yu? Gu Fei suddenly grinned and said such words. What? Chapter 49-28. Gu Fei chased after Man Yu, killing his way out of barbarian Emperor City and into Heaven Fire Tribe's territory. However, the entire Heaven Fire Tribe's encampment was empty. Not a single person from Heaven Fire Tribe could be seen. And here, Gu Fei encountered an ambush. These people were the subordinates that Man Yu, the second son of Barbarian Emperor, had secretly nurtured. They were an underground force under his complete control. However, after this battle, this force in Man Yu's hands was completely destroyed by Gu Fei. Most of Man Yu's subordinates were killed by Gu Fei. At this moment, even Man Yu had fled. Only 5 great God King level experts surrounded Gu Fei. The 5 God Kings were led by Qiu Qianjian, the lunar divine fist Han Dong, a God King level tree demon, and a short, skinny, black-robed old man who looked like a ghost. The last person was a burly man who carried a huge saber. The skinny old man was a ghost king of the Ghost Clan, and the strong man carrying the large blade was Blade King Luo Lai. The auras of these 5 great god kings were incomparably powerful. When the 5 of them joined forces, even Gu Fei had to be serious. The 5 of you are not bad. Why don't you follow me? Facing the 5 great god kings, Gu Fei was still calm. What, you? When the 5 great god kings heard this, they were shocked and angry. This guy actually wanted them to betray Man Yu. Man Yu was the second son of Man Emperor. In southern Man country, his status was incomparably noble. Wanting them to betray Man Yu was not an easy thing. Because behind Man Yu was Man Emperor. If you don't follow me, then I can only send you to reincarnate. Gu Fei shook his head regretfully. Che! Qiu Qianjian sneered. You think you can defeat the 5 of us? Stop joking. He was very confident. Haha, could it be that this guy was scared silly by us? The Saber King laughed heartily. Why are you still talking so much nonsense? Kill! The Ghost King let out a strange cry and immediately turned into an afterimage, directly pouncing towards Gu Fei with extreme speed. A bunch of idiots who don't know life from death. Gu Fei was really speechless. These guys really won't shed a tear until they see the coffin. He threw a punch at the Ghost King who was charging at him. A violent fist force exploded from his fist, and the surrounding sand and stones were sent flying. The Ghost King's movement technique was extremely strange. Like a ghost, it suddenly appeared behind Gu Fei, and a pair of sharp claws directly grabbed at Gu Fei's back. Gu Fei stamped his feet on the ground and shot up into the sky. At the same time, a sword hum rang out. Qiu Qianjian made his move. Resplendent swordlight pierced through the air and directly rushed towards Gu Fei. A gust of cold sword chi spread out. Swoosh! The tree demon also attacked. A thorny vine shot out like a snake towards Gu Fei. Kill! The Blade King Luo Lai held the broadsword he was carrying with both hands and slashed at Gu Fei with all his might. Han Dong, the Divine Moon Fist, also attacked. A huge fist shadow rushed out from his right fist and blasted directly at Gu Fei. The power of the Divine Moon Fist spread out, causing snowflakes to fall from the void. The 5 God Kings attacked at the same time, and a powerful force enveloped Gu Fei. Ha ha! Gu Fei laughed loudly. In the next moment, a chaotic power erupted from his body. All the attacks that were coming at him were drawn away by him, and then he attacked the 5 God Kings. Qiu Qianjian's swordlight, which was originally aimed at Gu Fei, was now directed towards the tree demon. The tree demon's vines, on the other hand, were moving towards the Ghost King. The Ghost King was drawn away by the chaotic power, and it involuntarily lunged towards the Blade King Luo Lai. There was also Han Dong's Lunar Divine Fist. His Lunar Divine Fist was directed by Gu Fei towards the Blade King Luo Lai. What? The 5 God Kings were dumbfounded. What kind of magic was this? How did he do it? Qiu Qianjian and the others immediately attacked each other. They were in a mess. However, Gu Fei took advantage of this opportunity to attack in an instant. He punched the Ghost King's back, and the Ghost King was sent flying forward, smashing through the wall and into a stone house. The people of the Heaven Fire tribe also built their houses with stone, just like the people of the Black Mountain tribe. The stone houses built with stone were very sturdy and not easily destroyed. However, they could not withstand the rampage of a God King. The other 4 God Kings were shocked when they saw this. A sword from the west. Qiu Qianjian attacked with all his strength. The devastating sword light illuminated the world, and it was incomparably dazzling. An unprecedentedly powerful wave of sword chi erupted from his body. You dare to play with the sword in front of me? Gu Fei sneered. He used his finger as a sword and pointed out, accurately hitting the tip of Qiu Qianjian's sword. In the next moment, Qiu Qianjian felt his hand shake. The divine sword in his hand flew out of his hand, and he felt a sharp pain in his palm. He hurriedly retreated, then looked down and saw that his hand that was holding the sword was already dripping with blood. Gu Fei's right hand grabbed at the swordlight that flew out of Qiu Qianjian's hand. The swordlight immediately flew towards him, and he caught it in his hand. Hum! The divine sword in Gu Fei's hand let out a buzzing sound. In the next moment, Gu Fei shook the divine sword in his hand. Then, Qiu Qianjian saw a shocking scene that he would never forget for the rest of his life. He saw streams of immortal swordlight rush out of Gu Fei's hand, piercing towards Qiu Qianjian and the others. The countless vines that rushed out of the tree demon's body were directly severed. The indestructible swordlight directly pierced through the tree demon's body. The lunar divine fist, Han Dong, was also struck by the swordlight, and his left arm flew off. Saber Monarch Luo Lai waved the large saber in his hand crazily, slashing at the swordlight that pierced through him. Clang! In the next moment, the 100 battle saber in Saber Monarch Luo Lai's hand was actually split into 2 by the swordlight. Although Qiu Qianjian dodged quickly, he was still swept by the swordlight that pierced through him. A sword wound so deep that bones could be seen appeared on his back. With just one move, Gu Fei had heavily injured the 4 godly monarchs. This kind of battle prowess, this kind of cultivation, this kind of terrifying swordsmanship was enough to make the 4 godly monarchs feel despair. They felt that they could not be defeated. Defeating the godly monarchs with one move, Gu Fei was extremely domineering. At this moment, the ghost monarch that had been blasted into the stone house by Gu Fei crawled out. "You are actually a sword Dao powerhouse?" Qiu Qianjian stared at Gu Fei in horror, his voice trembling as he spoke. "I only know a little." Gu Fei stood with his sword and said indifferently. "What, a little?" When Qiu Qianjian heard this, he was so angry that he spat out a mouthful of blood. "If this is a little, then doesn't that mean that the sword Dao that I have cultivated my entire life hasn't even crossed the threshold?" The other godly monarchs were also speechless. "All right, I'll give you one more chance. Follow me or die. You decide." Gu Fei held his sword behind his back and glanced at the 5 godly monarchs as he spoke indifferently. "This." Chapter 49-29. Gu Fei defeated the 5 godly kings with a single strike. He was domineering to the extreme. However, the 5 godly kings were in despair. However, they still had a chance. That was, Gu Fei had given them another chance. As long as they were willing to surrender and submit, Gu Fei would let them live. "You want us to submit to you?" Qiu Qianjian stared at Gu Fei and said. "That's right. Following me is better than following the second son of the barbarian emperor. Because following me is much more promising than following that guy." Gu Fei nodded and said. He wanted to nurture his own forces in the Void Realm, conquer the barbarian emperor city, and then subdue the 5 godly kings. This was the first step in his bid to dominate the Void Realm. "You want me to submit to you? Dream on!" The Ghost King let out a strange cry and immediately turned into a wisp of black smoke that soared into the sky, wanting to escape. "You're courting death!" Gu Fei's right hand was like a sword as he slashed out. A destructive swordlight that made Qiu Qianjian and the rest shiver directly slashed the wisp of black smoke. They only heard a scream before the wisp of black smoke dissipated. A black shadow fell from the sky, twitched a few times, and then stopped breathing. The 4 godly kings who witnessed this scene were all stunned. This guy actually killed the Ghost King with a single strike. That was a Ghost King, but he died under this guy's sword just like that. "If I submit to you, what's in it for me?" Qiu Qianjian stared at Gu Fei with incomparable seriousness. "Haha, you're really direct." Gu Fei laughed. "If you submit to me, you'll be able to reach a higher level on the path of the sword." Gu Fei stopped smiling and said to Qiu Qianjian very seriously. He had long seen that Qiu Qianjian was a pure sword Dao cultivator. "All right. Today I, Qiu Qianjian, will serve you as my master." Qiu Qianjian pays his respects to master. Qiu Qianjian directly knelt down in front of Gu Fei. "I'll bestow you with a sword technique." As Gu Fei spoke, he pointed with his finger. A beam of divine light rushed out from his finger and instantly entered Qiu Qianjian's glabella. In the next moment, Qiu Qianjian felt something appear in his mind. He quickly closed his eyes to comprehend it, and a sword technique appeared in his mind. This sword technique only had a few thousand words, but it instantly captivated Qiu Qianjian. It was as if he was intoxicated as he read it. Countless difficult problems of the sword Dao that had troubled him felt as if they had been easily solved. The remaining Treant monarch, Saber Sovereign Luo Lai, and Divine Lunar Fist Han Dong did not dare to hesitate. They immediately knelt down toward Gu Fei and accepted Gu Fei as their master. At this moment, the injuries on the 4 great godly kings were rapidly healing. The physical bodies of godly kings were incomparably powerful, and their recovery speed was also very shocking. "Follow me back to Barbarian Emperor City. It's time to clear up some of the powers in the city." Gu Fei soared into the sky with a murderous aura and flew toward Man Huangqing. The 4 great godly kings quickly chased after him. At this moment, in a valley a few hundred miles away, 2 figures were standing under a huge tree, panting heavily. They were the second son of Barbarian Emperor, Man Yu, and the other was an old servant in green. "That guy is so powerful. Third brother's death is not unjust." Man Yu sighed. If it wasn't for their quick escape, both of them would have died under the opponent's fist today. "Young master, what should we do now?" the old servant in green said. What else can we do? Let's return to South Imperial City first. Man Yu had no other ideas. He just wanted to return to South Imperial City. To him, South Imperial City was the safest place. And that's the only way. Let's go! Man Yu said and soared into the sky again, rushing towards South Imperial City. At this moment, Barbarian Emperor City fell into chaos again. The betrayal of the Red Armor Guards made Gu Fei furious. Moreover, after he killed his way out of Barbarian Emperor City, someone actually attacked Tian Yuan and the other 3 great gods. 2 of the 4 great gods, Tian Yuan, Hui Xiong, and Jin Shi, were killed by those guys who betrayed Gu Fei in Barbarian Emperor City. Only Tian Yuan and Hui Xiong were holding on. All of you, die obediently! Humph, don't expect your master to come back to save you. Your master can't even protect himself now. The experts of Wu and Mo clan who betrayed Gu Fei forced Tian Yuan and Hui Xiong to an open space in the west of Barbarian Emperor City. You guys! Tian Yuan and Hui Xiong were shocked and angry. They never thought that Wu and Mo clan would betray their master so quickly. They were simply fence-sitters. Heh, no one can save you today. Die! The patriarch of Wu and Mo clan led the experts of their respective clans towards Tian Yuan and Hui Xiong. Is that so? Just at this moment, a cold voice came from the horizon. When they heard this voice, Tian Yuan and Hui Xiong were surprised and happy, but the patriarch of Wu and Mo clan turned pale with fright. They raised their heads and saw a figure appear in the horizon, and it was rapidly approaching them. It's Gu Fei? How can it be? The patriarch of Wu clan was so scared that his legs were trembling. The reason they dared to betray Gu Fei was because they had long been in contact with Man Yu, the second son of Barbarian Emperor. Otherwise, why would the Red Armor Guards change sides at the critical moment? It was because they knew that Man Yu had brought his group of incomparably powerful subordinates to Barbarian Emperor City that the Wu and Mo clan had the courage to rebel against Gu Fei. Now that Gu Fei had returned, there was no need to ask, the unlucky one must be Man Yu. This time, it was Man Yu who caused our deaths. The face of Mo clan's patriarch was ashen. They saw that Gu Fei did not return alone. There were still 4 great experts following behind him, and every one of them burst out with an incomparably powerful Divine King aura. Among the 5 Divine Kings under Man Yu, 4 were actually subdued by Gu Fei. Thinking of this, the patriarchs of Wu and Mo clan despaired. No one would have thought that Man Yu brought such a powerful expert to annihilate Gu Fei, but it actually ended in failure. Was Man Yu really a good-for-nothing? Master, spare me! The patriarch of Wu clan directly knelt on the ground and kowtowed to Gu Fei, who had already arrived in the sky. Master, spare me! It's all because of this old Wu who threatened and lured me. That's why I was blinded by lard and did such a thing. The patriarch of Mo clan directly wanted to push all the blame onto the patriarch of Wu clan. What, old Mo? It was obviously you and Man Yu who came to my door and forced me to betray Master. Now you want to bite back. The patriarch of Wu clan was shocked and said hurriedly. All right, still acting in front of me? Gu Fei was impatient. Master, it's not an act. You have to believe me. The patriarchs of Mo clan and Wu clan were trembling as they knelt on the ground and pleaded bitterly. Kill them all, don't leave a single one alive! Gu Fei directly ordered. Yes, master! Even if he wanted to kill the Shaman Emperor, he didn't have the strength to do so. It was also because the Shaman Emperor was still alive that the Barbarian Emperor did not dare to exterminate the Sorcerer tribe. However, the Barbarian Emperor had always been suppressing the Sorcerer tribe, and the Sorcerer tribe had chosen to endure it. Now, there was actually someone in the southern barbaric lands who dared to go against the Barbarian Emperor. To the Sorcerer tribe, this was absolutely a good thing. They didn't have to do anything and only cared about watching the show. Moreover, the Heaven Magus Palace also didn't dare to interfere in Gu Fei's matters. After a few days of purging, the entire Barbarian Emperor city gradually calmed down. The Crimson Armored Guards were all annihilated, and Gu Fei rebuilt the black armored guards. Gu Fei had absolute control over the 4 great divine kings because he had placed a restriction on the 4 great divine kings. Once he discovered that they had betrayed him, he only needed a thought to annihilate the 4 great divine kings in body and soul. With the 4 great divine kings holding down the fort in the barbarian emperor city, the current barbarian emperor city could be said to be Gu Fei's world. After that, he gathered all the tribal leaders in the territory of the barbarian emperor city. He wanted to become the overlord of the barbarian emperor city and become the local tyrant of this territory. What Gu Fei wanted to do now was to gain a firm foothold in the southern barbaric lands, and then conquer everywhere, one step at a time. The territory of the barbarian emperor city wasn't small, and there were more than 100 human tribes in the territory. These human tribes of various sizes were distributed all over the territory. The large tribes had more than 100,000 people, and the small tribes had 1 to 2,000 people. There was a huge difference in strength between tribes. The small tribes attached themselves to the large tribes, and between the large tribes, they fought with each other endlessly, all wanting to occupy the most resources and the most territory. However, although these tribes fought with each other, they had to listen to the orders of the barbarian emperor city lord. When the city lord summoned, the leaders of the various tribes had to obediently come to the barbarian emperor city to pay their respects. However, the current barbarian emperor city was no longer the barbarian emperor city. In this way, the more than 100 tribes in the territory of the barbarian emperor city didn't know what to do. Surrendering to Gu Fei meant betraying the barbarian emperor, but if they didn't surrender to Gu Fei, then they would immediately face a disaster. Under Gu Fei's command, the overlords of the more than 100 human tribes in the territory of the barbarian emperor city immediately panicked. Chapter 49-31. Although Gu Fei had conquered barbarian emperor city and successfully controlled all the tribes within its territory, he was in a bad situation. However, his situation was slightly bad because he was surrounded by the forces of the barbarian imperial city, and there were 3 other great cities around the territory of the barbarian imperial city. These 3 great cities were Black Fog City, Heavenly Eagle City, and Thousand Beast City. The territories of these 3 great cities formed a triangle, surrounding the territory of barbarian emperor city. In this way, Gu Fei had to break through the encirclement of these 3 cities if he wanted to dominate southern barbarian. Heavenly Witch, that chick wants to see the world in chaos? In the main hall of the barbarian emperor city's city lord mansion, Gu Fei sat on the throne, holding the map of southern barbarians' forces and looking at it carefully. In the main hall, there were 107 lords of the human race standing quietly. These lords were terrified in front of Gu Fei. One should know that they were facing a god of death. This god of death even dared to kill the 3rd son of barbarian emperor, let alone them. Their tribe's guardian god died in the hands of this god of death. Now, some people secretly said that Gu Fei was a divine terminator, because he had ended the lives of more than 100 divine beings. Qiu Qianjian, how much do you know about the 3 cities? Gu Fei was still looking at the map in his hand. Master, these 3 cities are bigger than barbarian emperor city, and the city lords are half-step divine king human cultivators. Qiu Qianjian, who was standing at the side, answered. The city lord is only a half-step divine king, then you alone can sweep the 3 cities. Gu Fei said indifferently. This? Qiu Qianjian wanted to say something but stopped. Why? You're a divine king, can't you handle the 3 cities? Gu Fei said with some surprise. Master, although the city lords of the 3 cities are half-step divine kings, the 3 cities are definitely not simple. The 3 cities have formed a super grand formation, and this grand formation has enveloped the entire barbarian emperor city. Qiu Qianjian explained. I see. After listening to Qiu Qianjian's explanation, Gu Fei understood. The Black Fog City, Heavenly Eagle City and the Thousand Beast City were used to seal barbarian emperor city. That so-called super array was a super cage. The city lords of the 3 great cities can use the power of the super formation to fight, so... Qiu Qianjian wanted to say something but hesitated. Half-step god king and super battle power, Even he didn't have the confidence to defeat the 3 city lords. As one of the 5 great divine kings under Manu, the second son of Man Emperor, he naturally knew many things. This world is really interesting, Gu Fei muttered to himself. There were 2 extremes in this world. One was the lowest tribe, which still maintained a primitive state. The worship of gods and so on were all manifestations of primitive society. However, the creatures at the higher levels were in a different state. The cultivation system here was not backward at all. There were even people who could set up super formations. The creatures who truly mastered the best cultivation techniques in this world were the rulers of this world. The people at the lowest level were destined to be enslaved. Therefore, Gu Fei said that this world was very interesting. The lower levels were in a primitive society, while the higher levels were in an extremely developed cultivation world. Alright, you guys go and prepare first, then go and explore the 3 great cities. Gu Fei thought for a while and said, Yes, master. Qiu Qianjian and the other divine kings quickly accepted the order and left the hall. Master wants to attack the 3 great cities? The 107 tribal lords in the hall were shocked to the extreme. Was the war finally about to begin? This was the first time someone dared to challenge the barbarian emperor since he ruled South Barbarian. Just when Gu Fei was thinking about how to conquer the world, in the main hall of Heaven Magus Palace, the Heaven Magus priest was sitting on a high throne. Below the throne stood 13 masked women in white. Heaven Magus Highness, why did you summon us here? A woman in white standing at the front asked with a respectful tone. Nothing, I just invited you to stay in Heaven Magus Palace for a few days. The Heaven Magus priest said. What? When the 13 masked women heard this, they couldn't help but feel puzzled. Inviting them to Heaven Magus Palace was to ask them to stay for a few days. Things weren't that simple. Heaven Magus Highness, are you secretly helping that guy called Gu Fei? A masked woman voiced out her doubts. The other witches were shocked when they heard this because Gu Fei was the enemy of the barbarian emperor. Not only did he kill the barbarian emperor's envoy, but he also killed the barbarian emperor's 3rd son, Man Yao. This was an irreconcilable enmity. It was impossible for the barbarian emperor to let Gu Fei go. But now, the barbarian emperor was entangled with a matter and couldn't get away. This was an opportunity for Gu Fei, a chance for him to rise. Gu Fei needed time to improve his cultivation. That longevity coffin was also very mysterious, he needed to study it. The 13 witches were left in Heaven Magus Palace by the Heaven Magus priest. These 13 witches were the witches of the 3 major cities. Without their help, it would be much easier for Gu Fei to take down the 3 major cities. The barbarian emperor's city had a Heaven Magus, but the other 3 major cities didn't have such treatment. In the following days, Gu Fei only did 2 things. One was to study the map, and the other was to cultivate. He even threw the longevity coffin aside. Then, Qiu Qianjian led his men to attack Black Fog City. Black Fog City was the weakest among the 3 major cities. Qiu Qianjian and the Black Fog City Lord had a fierce battle, but Qiu Qianjian was forced to retreat. Qiu Qianjian, a divine king, couldn't do anything to the Black Fog City Lord, a half-step divine king. Was the formation really that strong? Gu Fei was a little surprised. One should know that a divine king was much stronger than a half-step divine king. In fact, he had already figured out the actual situation of the formation. He knew a little about formations. Although the 3 cities had sealed the barbarian emperor city, they were actually protecting the barbarian emperor city. After all, this was the barbarian emperor's ancestral land. In order to break the formation, one must find the eye of the formation, and the eye of the formation that enveloped the entire barbarian emperor city was the 3 major cities. In other words, to break the formation, one must break the city. It was not an easy task to break the city. Even a divine king like Qiu Qianjian couldn't do it, let alone the others. Looks like I have to do it. Gu Fei was a little helpless, but he knew that as long as he absorbed the energy of the formation, he should be able to fight against the barbarian emperor. At that time, even if the barbarian emperor came, he wouldn't be afraid. Get ready, We'll attack the 3 major cities in 3 days. Gu Fei announced the news in the main hall of the City Lord Mansion. Soon, the news spread to the 3 major cities. Want to break the city? You're overestimating yourself. Chapter 49-32. Gu Fei had been studying this super grand array for the past few days. The person who could set up such a grand array was definitely an expert in the array Dao. His array Dao cultivation must have surpassed the Grand Master level. Otherwise, how could he have the ability to set up such a grand array? In other words, there was an expert in the array Dao in Barbarian Sovereign's camp. This was definitely not a good thing for Gu Fei. However, his array Dao cultivation was not low either. These 2 days, Gu Fei was not in Barbarian Sovereign City. Instead, he personally went out to look at the terrain of the mountains and rivers, and observed the location of the 3 major cities. He finally found the flaw of this super grand array. To set up a super grand array that enveloped a region, the source of power for the array was definitely drawing in the spiritual energy of the earth veins as the power source. As long as the situation of the earth veins of this region was clear, and then the supply of spiritual energy from the earth veins to the grand array was cut off, this super grand array would collapse on its own. On the 3rd day, early in the morning, Gu Fei gathered a group of subordinates in the main hall of the City Lord Manor. The 4 great divine kings and 107 tribal lords were all present. No one dared to not come after receiving Gu Fei's order. Gu Fei's methods awed all the tribal leaders in the territory of Barbarian Sovereign City. Those gods that were captured in the Coiling Dragon Gorge were also killed by Gu Fei. Not a single one was spared. These gods were not particularly powerful. He was killing the chicken to warn the monkey. Gu Fei made arrangements in the main hall. He personally led the army formed by 107 tribes and charged towards Black Fog City. At this time, outside Barbarian Sovereign City, banners fluttered, wild beasts roared, and the fiendish aura was earth-shattering. The human race of Southern Barbarian was known for their valiance. Even if it was a ragtag army, hundreds of thousands of ragtag army was still an incomparably powerful force. The 4 great divine kings left Barbarian Sovereign City under Gu Fei's instructions. No one knew why Gu Fei sent the 4 great divine kings, but it was definitely related to this battle. Shan Kui led the black armored guards and became Gu Fei's personal guard. After a simple oath, they set off. Gu Fei led hundreds of thousands of troops straight to Black Fog City. Just as Gu Fei set off, a white figure stood on top of the city wall, watching Gu Fei leave. The distance between Barbarian Emperor City and Black Mist City was actually not very far, only less than 200 li. However, Gu Fei was leading an army of hundreds of thousands, so the speed of the army naturally could not be fast. One must know that the southern barbarians didn't have many things, but they had a lot of mountains. They were all walking on mountain roads. After a day, Gu Fei's army had only marched 80 miles. Before nightfall, Gu Fei's army set up camp in a spacious area and started cooking. The news that Gu Fei had led an army to attack Black Fog City spread. The 3 cities were shaken, especially Black Fog City. Countless creatures in the city were terrified. City Lord this. Black Fog City, City Lord Mansion. The City Lord of Black Fog City sat on the throne in the main hall. At this time, there were dozens of experts standing in the main hall. Among these experts, there were many experts from foreign clans. An old man who looked like a military advisor looked at the City Lord of Black Fog City. "Hey Xian, you are my strategist. What do you say?" The old man called He Xian frowned when he heard this. The other party was coming aggressively. They could completely rely on the power of the super formation to destroy those who came. "City Lord, I think defense is the best strategy. Because of the existence of the formation, we are already in an invincible position." He Xian thought for a moment, and said, "Defense?" The City Lord of Black Fog City couldn't help but frown when he heard this. "Tell me about your middle and bottom plans." "The middle plan is to send people to attack the invading enemies along the way to damage their morale. The bottom plan is to gather the army and take the initiative to attack and fight. After He Xian finished speaking, the main hall immediately fell into silence. No one spoke. What do you think? The city lord of Black Fog City broke the silence in the main hall. We agree with military advisor He Xian. Military advisor He Xian's analysis is very good. Let's do as He Xian says. All the experts in the main hall said one after another. The best strategy is to defend, the middle plan is to disturb the enemy, and the bottom plan is to fight? The city lord of Black Fog City pondered. Who is willing to disturb the enemy? The city lord of Black Fog City glanced at his subordinates in the main hall and said, This. Everyone in the main hall immediately hesitated. No one was stupid. Disturbing the enemy could mean being killed at any time. No one wanted to take the risk. A bunch of cowards! At this moment, a voice suddenly came from outside the main hall. Hearing this voice, all the experts in the main hall were extremely embarrassed. They knew who had come. Then, a figure strode in from outside the main hall. Big brother, I'm going to teach those arrogant fellows a lesson. The person who came was a tall, middle-aged man with a majestic appearance. Be careful! The city lord of Black Fog City nodded and said, Yes, big brother! The middle-aged man said as he turned around and strode out. Soon, dozens of figures rushed out of Black Fog City. These figures quickly disappeared into the mountains outside Black Fog City. Second Master, those people are going to suffer. Someone in the main hall of the city lord's mansion said in a low voice. The military advisor He Xian was a little unhappy. He could obviously rely on the super formation to kill those guys, but why did he have to ask for trouble? Didn't the city lord of Black Fog City rely on the power of the super formation to defeat Qiu Qianjian? At this time, in the camp of Gu Fei's army, night patrols could be seen everywhere in the military camp, and the defense was tight. They were also afraid of being ambushed. However, what they were afraid of really happened. In the middle of the night, dozens of fireballs directly appeared in the sky above the camp of Gu Fei's army, illuminating the dark sky and earth. Enemy attack! Enemy attack! Suddenly, there was a roar in the military camp. In the next moment, the entire military camp was in an uproar, and countless soldiers directly picked up their weapons and rushed out of the tents. However, when countless soldiers looked up at the dozens of huge fireballs falling from the sky, they were all dumbfounded. They actually used fire to attack. Fire was definitely a fatal attack for Gu Fei's army that had set up camp. Once the camp was set on fire, Gu Fei's army would directly be in danger of being defeated. Humph! Gu Fei walked out of the main tent and then grabbed at the dozens of fireballs in the sky with his right hand. The dozens of fireballs immediately flew towards him and quickly shrank, then he grabbed them in his hand. Seeing this scene, countless soldiers were dumbfounded. Kill! As Gu Fei spoke, he pointed with his right hand, and a ray of divine light directly penetrated a mountain in the distance. The ray of divine light instantly crossed a distance of more than 10 miles and penetrated a figure. The figure screamed miserably and rolled down the mountain ridge. Want to sneak attack? Then you'll have to pay the price. Gu Fei glanced around. Chapter 49-33. It was a dark and windy night. In the southern region of the Void Realm, hundreds of thousands of soldiers were stationed in a valley in the territory of barbarian Emperor City. This was Gu Fei's army. Gu Fei's army did not march at night, so they found a valley and set up camp there. Who would have thought that someone would launch a sneak attack on Gu Fei's camp in the middle of the night? A dozen fireballs fell from the sky and smashed towards Gu Fei's camp. However, no one could have imagined that Gu Fei would easily break his opponent's attack and grab the dozen fireballs that were falling from the sky in his hand. The fire spiritual force was directly devoured by him. Next, Gu Fei pointed out with a finger to kill off the fellow who had launched a sneak attack on them from over 10 kilometers away. The second master of Black Fog City, who was hiding in the dark, was extremely depressed. The Fire Emperor died just like that. The people that the second master brought with him were also extremely shocked. The Fire Emperor was a fire god king, and his cultivation was not lower than theirs. The other party actually killed the fire god king with a wave of his hand. With such combat strength, even if they attacked together, they would not be a match for this guy called Gu Fei. Retreat! Second Master Tong Yi immediately ordered a retreat. The night passed uneventfully. Early the next morning, after Gu Fei's army had their breakfast, they broke camp and continued marching towards Black Fog City. However, just as Gu Fei's army passed through a valley, countless boulders suddenly rolled down from the cliffs on both sides. Enemy attack! Countless soldiers in the valley were scared half to death when they saw this scene. All of them panicked. Just as countless combat soldiers were about to be crushed to death by the falling rocks, Gu Fei made his move again. A cold light flashed across the sky like a bolt of lightning. The boulders that rolled down from the cliffs on both sides were directly smashed by the cold light, turning into dust and sprinkling down. Reckless! Gu Fei soared into the sky and killed his way to the cliff on the left. A few figures were about to rush into a forest in the distance. Still want to escape? Gu Fei sneered, and the cold light instantly flew up with a whoosh. Then, those people were gone. There were also people fleeing from the opposite cliff. However, in front of Gu Fei, no ordinary deities or even godly kings could escape. Their bodies were directly pierced by the cold light, and they died instantly. The second master of Black Fog City, Tong Yi, was so depressed that he almost vomited blood. He never would have thought that the 10 subordinates he had sent to set up an ambush in Black Fog Canyon, intending to deal a heavy blow to Gu Fei's army. Who would have thought that after half a day, none of his 10 subordinates had returned? Just as the 4 god kings flew in front of Gu Fei's left hand drew a circle in the void and the 4 god kings' power was absorbed by his power. In the next moment, the 4 god kings' Yuan Qi was being devoured by Gu Fei. How is this possible? The 4 god kings were scared out of their wits. They desperately tried to break free, but they couldn't. The 4 unlucky god kings held miserably as their Yuan Qi was completely devoured by Gu Fei. They immediately turned into 4 dried corpses and breathed their last. You dare kill me? I'm the brother of Black Fog City's city lord. Tong Yi stared at Gu Fei and said with a trembling voice. Die! Gu Fei's right hand shook and a force erupted from his hand, turning Tong Yi, the second master of Black Fog City, into a bloody mist. Who do you think you are? I even dared to kill the 3rd son of Barbarian King, let alone you! Gu Fei said disapprovingly. Roar! At this moment, a furious roar suddenly came from Black Fog City, and a terrifying pressure instantly enveloped the entire Black Fog City. Chapter 49-34. The second in command of Black Fog City, Tong Yi, was actually dead. The whole city was shocked when the news spread out. Black Fog City Lord Tong Yi was only a half-step Divine King, but his second brother was a peak-stage Divine King. His cultivation was much higher than his elder brother. This was also why Tong Yi dared to attack Gu Fei's army alone. There were many Divine Kings under Tong Yi. These Divine Kings were experts that he subdued when he was traveling in the southern barbarians. To be able to subdue so many Divine Kings, this proved that Tong Yi was very capable. Originally, the position of Black Fog City Lord was Tong Yi's, but he didn't want to be the city lord as he liked to travel the world. When Qiu Qianjian attacked previously, Tong Yi hadn't returned yet. After Qiu Qianjian attacked Black Fog City Lord, Tong Yi felt that the matter was serious, so he sent a message to his second brother and called him back. Who would have thought that Tong Yi would encounter Gu Fei this time, and then, there was no then. In fact, Black Fog City seemed to be the weakest among the 3 major cities, but this was under the premise that Tong Yi's forces were not included. If Tong Yi's forces were included, Black Fog City would actually be the strongest among the 3 major cities. After Gu Fei finished off Tong Yi and the 4 godly monarchs, he sat cross-legged on the mountain ridge. At that moment, he devoured Tong Yi and the 4 godly monarchs' Yuan Qi, causing the Yuan Qi in his body to surge. His body was surrounded by fire qi, and a flame-shaped Tao pattern was faintly visible on his glabella. He was condensing the fire element Great Tao, but this flame Tao pattern was still very unstable. Gu Fei successfully condensed the sword Tao pattern last time, and the sword Tao power in his body recovered, allowing his cultivation to soar to the level where he could easily kill a divine king. Now, he planned to condense the fire Tao pattern and recover the fire element power in his body. 1 hour later there was a sudden buzz. Gu Fei's body shook, and a resplendent flame-shaped Tao pattern was branded on his glabella. Roar! Gu Fei roared towards the sky. Boom! A fireball exploded on the peak of the mountain. Endless divine fire instantly swept across the sky and the ground. The entire mountain was burned by the divine fire and directly turned into dust. Within a radius of more than 10 miles, whether it was the rocks, flowers, or trees, they were all burned to ashes. The void was distorted by the heat. Right at this moment, the supreme existences in the 5 major regions of the void realm were alarmed, and they looked towards southern man at the same time. The next moment, the towering divine fire instantly retreated like the tide, all of it submerged into Gu Fei's body. Inside his body, the primordial qi was vast and mighty, and the flame-shaped mark between his eyebrows was hidden under his skin, vanishing without a trace. Someone has become a Renhuang in the southern barbaric land. Could it be that the shaman emperor, that old thing, has come out of seclusion? One after another, powerful divine senses descended upon the southern wilderness, but at this time, the earth-shattering aura just now had disappeared. The shaman emperor was a peerless expert. He had once fought with the current barbarian emperor, and the battle was earth-shattering. Although he was defeated in the end, he did not perish and chose to live in seclusion. At that time, the barbarian emperor, as long as there was a trace of a chance to kill the shaman emperor, he would do it directly. Unfortunately, the barbarian emperor did not have the confidence to kill the shaman emperor. At this time, when Gu Fei's army of hundreds of thousands saw the monstrous disaster that suddenly appeared in front of them, they were all frightened. That aura! In the city lord residence of Black Fog City, the city lord Tong Yi could not help but feel inexplicably shocked when he sensed the terrifying aura that appeared for a short while. That guy is actually strong enough to stand shoulder to shoulder with the barbarian emperor? In the barbarian emperor city, in the Heaven Witch Palace, the Heaven Witch priest also sensed the aura of Gu Fei. The Heaven Witch priest then left the Heaven Witch Palace with her maids. At this time, a flame descended from the sky and landed directly in front of Gu Fei's army. The flame dissipated, and a figure appeared. Greetings, master? When more than 100 tribal lords saw that person, they immediately knelt down. The countless soldiers behind the tribal lords also knelt down at the same time, and their shouts shook the sky. The person who came was naturally Gu Fei. Get up, we will not march today. We will set up camp here and rest for a day, Gu Fei ordered. Yes, master! The hundreds of thousands of soldiers shouted in unison, their voices shaking the sky. Outside the Black Fog Canyon, there was a large open space. The army directly buried the pots to cook, and at the same time, set up simple tents. Shan Kui and the others sent out scouts to investigate the surroundings. Gu Fei's main tent was quickly set up. He directly went into the main tent and cultivated inside, consolidating the cultivation that he had just broken through. The old priest and Xiaoya personally stood guard outside. The Great Fire Mountain blocked Gu Fei's army? In the city lord residence of Black Fog City, Tong Yi, who received the news, was surprised and overjoyed. This way, he would have enough time to prepare for the final battle with Gu Fei. Tong Yi immediately sent people to contact the Heavenly Eagle City Lord and the Thousand Beasts City Lord. He wanted to gather the strength of the 3 major cities to destroy Gu Fei. If Gu Fei defeated them one by one, even if they did not die in the hands of Gu Fei, they would be killed by the barbarian emperor. Chapter 49-35. Do they want to fight us here in the Black Fog Canyon? Shan Kui found the old priest. When the old priest learned that the armies of the Thousand Beast City and Heavenly Eagle City had arrived, he could not help but turn pale. He quickly went to Xiaoya to discuss what to do. When the 107 tribal leaders learned that the armies of the two major cities had arrived, they were shocked and the hundreds of thousands of soldiers were stirred up. It must be known that these tribal leaders had only submitted to Gu Fei's might. Once someone was stronger than Gu Fei, they would definitely turn their spears against Gu Fei. But Gu Fei's ruthless methods of suppressing the rebellion in the barbarian emperor's city had made these tribal leaders fearful, and they did not dare to make any moves. Moreover, the news that Gu Fei had killed Tong Yi had spread. Tong Yi was a ruthless man, a peak-level divine king who had subdued many powerful living beings of the divine king level. Even he was killed by Gu Fei. It was obvious how terrifying Gu Fei was. "As long as Master is here, we have nothing to fear," Xiaoya said. At this time, Xiaoya was displaying a calm and steady demeanor, not like a 5 or 6-year-old child, but like an old antique that had lived for countless years. "We will not move first," Xiaoya said. "Yes, Your Highness." Shan Kuei and the old priest obeyed. Gu Fei was in closed-door cultivation, and as Gu Fei's disciple, Her Highness was their master. No one dared to defy Her Highness. The tribal leaders were not very obedient to Xiaoya at the beginning, but after Xiaoya displayed her powerful might, they all became obedient. Outside the Black Fog Canyon, Gu Fei's army was waiting. However, the army of the Thousand Beast City suddenly stopped. The mountains were filled with the shadows of beasts, densely packed together. These beasts roared continuously, shaking the heavens and earth. "Big brother, why don't we go straight for Gu Fei's army? What are we waiting for?" On a mountain ridge surrounded by countless wild beasts, two figures stood. One of them was draped in beast skin and held a glowing bone staff in his hand. The shadow of a huge beast could be vaguely seen on his body. The person holding the divine beast bone staff was the Thousand Beast King, Desolate Ape, and standing beside him was his second brother, Desolate Tiger. "TSK, can't you see that the red-browed Eagle King, that old bastard, is biding his time?" The Baron Ape sneered. "Big brother, are you saying that you, red-eyed-browed old ghost, want us and Gu Fei to fight to the death?" Desolate Tiger said in shock. "What's in it for him?" Baron Tiger said in confusion. They were all responsible for guarding the barbarian emperor city, and they were just one of the countless city lords under the barbarian emperor's command. What was the difference? Did red-eyed-browed old man want to be the boss? There are still many benefits to being the boss. The wild ape muttered. The Thousand Beast City was the most powerful among the 3 major cities, as the Thousand Beast King was able to control wild beasts. If the wild beasts that blotted out the skies and covered the earth formed a beast tide, it would definitely be able to destroy everything. Moreover, the Thousand Beast City also had 3 divine kings. With the strength of the Thousand Beast City, even if the Black Fog City had Tong Yi, he would not dare to challenge the position of the Thousand Beast City's boss. "Let's wait and see first," the Baron Ape said. Since the red-eyed-browed Eagle King wanted to preserve his strength, he was not stupid and naturally would not foolishly lead the wild beast army to fight to the death with Gu Fei's army. Moreover, even Tong Yi had died in the hands of Gu Fei. No one dared to underestimate Gu Fei anymore. "Yes, big brother," the Desolate Tiger quickly replied. The Thousand Beast City had spared no expense this time. They had mobilized all their top exponents and gathered so many wild beasts. In the entire south, only the Thousand Beast King, the Wild Ape, was capable of controlling more than 100,000 wild beasts at the same time. The Thousand Beast King has stopped. In the main tent of the Heavenly Eagle City's army, 80 miles away from the Black Fog Canyon, a red-eyed-browed old man sat on the throne, listening to the report of a scout. "City Lord, what's going on with the Thousand Beast King? Why did he stop? What is he trying to do?" A middle-aged general in black armor said. In the middle of the main tent was a fire pit, and there were all kinds of beast meat being grilled on it. The aroma of meat and wine filled the air, whetting one's appetite. "Humph! What else can he do? He just wants to preserve his strength." The red-eyed-browed Eagle King sneered. The group of Heavenly Eagle City generals in the main tent looked a little unnatural. They seemed to want to preserve their strength as well, and no one wanted to be the first to attack. City Lord, since the Thousand Beast King is not attacking, and the Black Fog City's Black Fog King is not attacking, this may be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for us. The middle-aged general said after thinking for a while. General Fu, what do you mean? The red-eyed-browed Eagle King looked at the middle-aged general and frowned. City Lord, think about it. Not only did this Gu Fei stand on the barbarian emperor's side, he also killed His Highness Man Yao. That's the third son of the barbarian emperor. If we can get rid of this fellow Gu Fei, wouldn't it be a great merit? The middle-aged general's eyes lit up as he said, That's right. The other generals in the main tent couldn't help but nod. If they could make a great merit, they would be rewarded by the barbarian emperor. The barbarian emperor had always been very generous to his subordinates. If there was merit, they would be rewarded. Chapter 49-36. Southern Barbarian was one of the 5 major regions of the Void Realm. Although it was one of the 5 major regions, the territory of Southern Barbarian was so vast that even the Barbarian Emperor could not fully explore this region. In Southern Barbarian, there were some places that even the Barbarian Emperor did not dare to set foot in. In fact, there were some mysterious regions in every world. Those places were inexplicably dangerous, and even strong cultivators would definitely die if they went in. There were too many secrets in the Void Realm. There were also a few terrifying and mysterious regions in Southern Barbarian that no one dared to enter easily. The reason why the Barbarian Emperor did not find trouble with Gu Fei was that he was held up by a matter and could not get away at all. This matter was much more important than the death of his son. The ghostly Emperor came to the Barbarian Emperor for that matter. This gave Gu Fei a chance to breathe. However, although the Barbarian Emperor did not make a move, it did not mean that the strong cultivators under him would not make a move. Capturing or killing Gu Fei would be a great contribution. At this time, the region of Barbarian Emperor City was in turmoil. The 3 major forces had formed a 3-sided encirclement on Gu Fei's army. However, these guys all had their own ulterior motives. No one wanted to be the first to face Gu Fei, because even if they could defeat Gu Fei, they would suffer heavy losses. However, the red-browed Eagle King of Heavenly Eagle City had other plans. If Black Fog City and Thousand Beast City did not make a move, then he would make a move. After killing Gu Fei, he could go to the Barbarian Emperor to claim his reward. At that time, he would no longer have to stay in this remote place. People strive for higher things. Water flows downwards. Fight. After the red-browed Eagle King made up his mind, he ordered people to prepare a meal. After eating and drinking, he was ready to go all out. If he won, he would rise to the top. If he lost, he might not necessarily die. This time, the red-browed Eagle King had mobilized all the strong cultivators in Heavenly Eagle City. He led the 18 lords of Heavenly Eagle City and 200,000 soldiers here. Heavenly Eagle City was different from Barbarian Emperor City. Within the territory of Heavenly Eagle City, there were only 18 powerful tribes. Moreover, these tribes were ruled by the human race and did not have any guardian deities. Because these 18 lords were deities themselves, why would they need to worship the deities of foreign races? In fact, only in the most backward and primitive places would the tribes need to worship the gods of the foreign races. After nightfall, the mountain was actually very quiet. Even the roars of the savage beasts had disappeared. A bright moon hung high in the sky, sprinkling down hazy moonlight. Master hasn't come out yet. The vast open space outside the Black Fog Canyon was filled with tents as far as the eye could see. There were also teams of soldiers patrolling the area from time to time. This was Gu Fei's military camp. Barricades were set up outside the barracks, and many large pits were dug. Sharp wooden stakes were placed in the pits. Regardless of whether it was a man or a horse, once they fell into the pits, they would definitely die. In Gu Fei's army, there were archers, heavy-armored infantrymen, and light cavalry. If he hadn't killed the 5,000 Flying Wing army of the Flying Wing tribe, he would have an aerial force by now. All of you stay alert. Shan Kui led the black troopers to patrol the barracks. He didn't dare to be careless. After all, they were in a situation where they were surrounded by strong enemies. No one knew when the armies of the three cities would suddenly attack. TSK, if it wasn't for Master supporting him, would he be so impressive? Humph, he's just a fox borrowing the tiger's might to intimidate others. In my eyes, he's just a piece of trash. He's just a little guy. Why bother with him? Lower your voice. If he hears it, we'll definitely be in trouble. Many of the tribal lords weren't very convinced of Shan Kuei's power. Shan Kuei had only pledged his allegiance to Gu Fei earlier. Now that he had become the commander of the Black Troopers, he was even more arrogant. In the Void Realm, in the southern barbarians, everyone would only submit to the strong. In the eyes of the tribal lords in the territory of Barbarian Emperor City, Shan Kuei was trash. Anyone would be displeased and indignant to have someone who was much weaker than them step on their head. I don't know what Master is doing. What is he thinking? He actually let Shan Kuei lead the Black Troopers. A tribal lord stared at Shan Kuei's back and said coldly. Shan Kuei rode the Azure Qilin colt and wore battle armor. He was proudly leading a group of Black Troopers to patrol the camp. This really made the tribal lords who were stronger than him very unhappy. Shut up. Is Master someone you can talk about? Unbeknownst to them, the old shaman had actually appeared behind the group of tribal lords. What? Lord Shaman. When the tribal lords saw the old shaman, they couldn't help but be shocked. They could look down on Shan Kuei and even despise him, but they absolutely didn't dare to not put the old shaman in their eyes. This old shaman was now a favorite of Master. Humph. The old shaman sneered and turned to leave, leaving behind a group of terrified tribal lords. What should we do? How would I know? The tribal lords quickly dispersed. Those tribal lords who spoke rudely just now were probably not going to have a good time. What is that? At this moment, Shan Kuei, who was patrolling the camp on the Azure Qilin colt, suddenly looked up to the sky. Under the moonlight, there were actually countless things flashing. And the countless flashing lights in the sky were quickly falling down to the camp below. This is... When Shan Kuei saw what the cold light that fell from the sky was, he was scared out of his wits. Enemy attack! In the next moment, Shan Kuei didn't even think and directly used all his strength to roar out these two words, because the densely packed cold light was actually the light emitted by the arrowheads that were illuminated by the moonlight. At this time, there was a rapid air-piercing sound in the sky. Countless arrows rained down from the sky. Screams rang out from the camp, and the entire camp was in chaos. They were caught unprepared. Gu Fei had killed all the foreign race gods in Barbarian Emperor City. The tribal lords' abilities were limited, and they couldn't protect their soldiers at all. Countless soldiers were directly hit by the arrows and fell to the ground. Even Shan Kuei's left shoulder was hit by an arrow, and he fled in a panic towards the main tent. This guy was smart. The closer he was to Master, the safer he would be. Therefore, he desperately rushed towards the main tent where Gu Fei was. At this time, the void trembled, and a ball of divine light burst out from the main tent. The arrows that had yet to land all stopped in the void. Countless soldiers from the various tribes looked at the arrows that landed above their heads, and they were all stunned. Enemy attack! Enemy attack! The various tribal lords in the camp began to move, and soon, the commotion in the camp was suppressed, and the army moved in an orderly manner. At this time, the ground shook. Everyone was inexplicably shocked. In the next moment, countless torches appeared outside the barracks as a group of cavalrymen charged madly towards Gu Fei's barracks. Return it to you! Chapter 49-37. Under the moonlight, outside the Black Fog Canyon, a rain of arrows rained down from the sky. Gu Fei's army was caught unprepared and suffered heavy casualties. At the critical moment, Gu Fei made his move and stopped the rain of arrows that had yet to fall. At this time, the enemy cavalry began to charge at Gu Fei's camp. In the darkness of the night, the sound of hoofs thundering could be heard and the ground quaked. In the midst of the chaos, it was unknown how many cavalrymen were charging over. In Gu Fei's camp, there was no small commotion. And at this time, the countless arrows that Gu Fei had frozen in the air suddenly soared into the sky and shot toward the incoming cavalry. What? The general at the front of the cavalry couldn't help but turn pale with fright. Shield! The middle-aged general roared furiously. In the next moment, countless cavalrymen grabbed a shield hanging from their saddles and raised it above their heads. In the next moment, countless arrows fell from the sky and landed on the shield formation, but they were all deflected. The war horses were also wearing heavy armor, and when the arrows hit the war horses, they only caused sparks to fly. They were actually unable to penetrate the heavy armor of the war horses. However, no matter how tight the defense was, there were still unlucky fellows. There were constantly cavalrymen who fell from their war horses and were trampled into meat paste by the war horses behind them. In this way, there was some commotion in the cavalry formation, but it didn't affect them much. What an elite cavalry! They seemed to be Heavenly Eagle City's Black Feather Cavalry. Some of the tribal lords in barbarian Emperor City's territory exclaimed. They're from Heavenly Eagle City? The other tribal lords were shocked to hear this. The people from Heavenly Eagle City had suddenly attacked without any warning. Even the scouts they had sent out hadn't discovered them. Rumble! Under the leadership of the Black Feather King, the Heavenly Eagle City's Black Feather Cavalry were like a black flood that directly charged into Gu Fei's camp with unstoppable momentum. Under the iron hooves of the Black Feather Cavalry, the countless soldiers under Gu Fei's command scattered in all directions. These Black Feathers cavalry were well equipped, and each of them held a blade in their hands. They rode on heavily armored black scale colts, and charged towards the soldiers who were fleeing in all directions. Wherever the Black Feathers cavalry passed, they were simply unstoppable. They left behind corpses on the ground, and the stench of blood immediately pervaded the air. Compared to the Black Feathers cavalry, Gu Fei's army was like a ragtag army. It was a one-sided massacre. Reckless fool! A furious roar rang out, and in the next moment, streaks of fiery light shot out from Gu Fei's tent, and then transformed into flaming dragons that bared their fangs and brandished their claws, pouncing directly towards the Black Feathers cavalry. The night sky was instantly illuminated by these fire dragons. The sky was densely packed with ferocious birds that stopped in the void. They were silent, and everyone was shocked when they saw this scene. Boom! 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 The fire dragons pounced into the midst of the Black Feathers cavalry and exploded, turning into balls of flames that instantly enveloped a radius of several tens of feet, directly burning the Black Feathers cavalry that were enveloped in the flames into ashes. My Black Feathers cavalry. High up in the sky, the red-browed Eagle King, who was standing on the back of the silver-clawed Eagle King, felt his heart bleed when he saw this scene. This was a cavalry that he had spent countless efforts to build and train, and yet it was destroyed just like that. At this moment, a figure surrounded by flames walked out from the main tent, and walked step by step into the sky. He was like a peerless god of fire that had descended into the world. With his appearance, the temperature of the entire void rose rapidly, and everyone felt as though the blood in their bodies was about to evaporate. The most elite Black Feathers cavalry of Sky Eagle City was directly plunged into a sea of flames, and only a few dozen of them managed to rush out. Roar! The commander of the Black Feathers cavalry, the Black Feather King, roared angrily, and leaped from the back of his horse like a man, charging towards Gu Fei in the sky. Go to hell! The Black Feather King waved his hands, and rays of black light shot out from his hands, piercing towards Gu Fei. Gu Fei sneered, and directly threw a punch at the Black Feather King. A huge shadow of a fist appeared in the sky, dispersing the countless rays of black light that the Black Feather King had pierced through, and the fist landed on the Black Feather King's body. Then, under everyone's extremely shocked gazes, the Black Feather King, who was a god king, did not even have the chance to cry out before he was blasted into a bloody mist by Gu Fei's punch. This was a direct annihilation of both his body and soul. The red-browed Eagle King was no longer just shocked at this scene. This Gu Fei's battle prowess was far more powerful and terrifying than he had imagined. City Lord, the red-browed Eagle King was stunned as well. killing a god king with a single punch. Even if he used his full strength, he would not be able to kill the Black Feather King with a single strike. After all, the Black Feather King's cultivation was not low. You guys dare to sneak up on me? Gu Fei stood in the sky with his hands behind his back, looking at the red-browed Eagle King indifferently. He was facing off against the army alone, and he did not take the red-browed Eagle King seriously at all. How dare you! Kill him! I don't believe that this guy has 3 heads and 6 arms, and that he can stop my army of 200,000. The red-browed Eagle King shook the spear in his hand. Kill! The Heavenly Eagle army behind him roared as they charged at Gu Fei. Sword cleaves the army of 10,000. Gu Fei made a grabbing motion with his right hand, and a sword condensed from Yuan Qi appeared in his hand. He held the sword in his right hand and swung it forward. In the next moment, an arc of flaming sword light shot forward, and the Heavenly Eagle army that was charging at Gu Fei were cut in half at the waist. What? The extremely sharp sword light instantly slashed at the red-browed Eagle King. The red-browed Eagle King was shocked. He did not even think before leaping off the back of the silver-clawed Eagle King, dodging the sword light. However, the Heavenly Eagle army behind him was unlucky. Wherever the sword light passed, a large number of the Heavenly Eagle army would immediately collapse. Their corpses fell from the sky, and blood rained down from the sky. I'm going to tear you to pieces! The red-browed Eagle King roared as he lunged at Gu Fei like a divine eagle. His claws directly tore at Gu Fei's head, and his 10 fingers pulsed with energy. If the red-browed Eagle King's claws landed, even a piece of godly metal would have 10 holes in it. Hee hee! Gu Fei suddenly laughed. In the next moment, he also extended his hands and grabbed at the red-browed Eagle King's claws. He wanted to use his claws to destroy the red-browed Eagle King's claws. You're courting death! The red-browed Eagle King sneered. He had cultivated the eagle claw technique for his entire life, and his claws had long become extremely powerful. Even a god king would die without a doubt if they were struck by his claws. Crack! Claws collided with claws, and the sound of bones breaking rang out. Then, everyone was stunned by this scene. They saw that the red-browed Eagle King had actually been grabbed by the throat by Gu Fei. Gu Fei had actually used his claws to destroy the red-browed Eagle King's claws, and he had a complete victory. He had even grabbed the red-browed Eagle King's throat. Chapter 49-38. Under the moonlight, Gu Fei used an eagle claw to defeat an eagle claw, capturing the Eagle King in one move. Everyone was dumbfounded. How is this possible? City Lord. The godly kings that the red-browed Eagle King brought were all dumbfounded. How were they supposed to continue? Even the City Lord had been captured in one move. How were they supposed to continue? Furthermore, Gu Fei had killed countless members of the Sky Eagle army with one strike. The 2 most elite troops under the red-browed Eagle King had been crippled by Gu Fei just like that. This made the red-browed Eagle King's heart bleed. One had to know that the red-browed Eagle King had put in a lot of effort to build and train these 2 troops. Boom! At this moment, the red-browed Eagle King, whose throat was gripped by Gu Fei, suddenly exploded with a resplendent divine light. Gu Fei was shocked. In the next moment, he felt an extremely powerful Yuan Qi explode from the red-browed Eagle King's body, directly sending him flying several feet away. What's going on? Gu Fei stared at the red-browed Eagle King, who was surrounded by divine light, and couldn't help but frown. A formation plate rushed out from the red-browed Eagle King's body and floated in front of Gu Fei. Rays of divine light transformed into ancient runes that circled around the formation plate. This was something that Gu Fei was very familiar with. The power of a super array? Gu Fei stared at the hovering array disk and couldn't help but frown. An array disk was very useful. It could draw the power of a large array for one's own use. It was the master of the array. Little guy, go and die! The red-browed Eagle King was enraged to the extreme. His eyes were bloodshot as he desperately activated the array disk. An even more powerful and terrifying power exploded from his body. The red-browed Eagle King waved his hands. Rays of cold light instantly turned into extremely sharp sword chi that pierced towards Gu Fei. Humph! Gu Fei sneered. In the next moment, he rushed into the sky and dodged the piercing sword chi. Kill! Gu Fei let out a furious roar and punched towards the red-browed Eagle King. A violent fist force erupted from his fist, causing the void to tremble. Boundless flames erupted from his body, illuminating the entire world. Fire spiritual energy? The red-browed Eagle King was both shocked and furious. At this time, he was the ruler of the super great formation, drawing over an incomparably powerful force. Rumble! Suddenly, the sky changed color, and the sun and moon lost their light. A huge dragon shadow rushed out from the red-browed Eagle King's body, directly facing Gu Fei's fist energy. Boom! With a loud sound, the two powers instantly collided. The huge dragon image dissipated, and Gu Fei was actually pushed back by the super power of the red-browed Eagle King. This was the first time since Gu Fei came to this world that he had been suppressed in terms of strength. Ha, little fellow, you're dead meat. The red-eyed-browed Eagle King laughed out loud as he attacked once again. The power of the super great array gathered towards him at a crazy rate. City Lord, you're amazing! This is the power of the super great array? The subordinates of the red-eyed-browed Eagle King were all shocked. They had thought that with Gu Fei's power, they would definitely be dead meat. Who would have thought that their city lord was so powerful that even Gu Fei was pushed back? Moreover, the red-eyed-browed Eagle King's power was still increasing. This super great array had been running for an unknown period of time, gathering the spiritual energy of the entire region. The power of this super great array was absolutely terrifying. Even the red-eyed-browed Eagle King could not withstand this power. The red-eyed-browed Eagle King did not dare to draw all the power of the super great array over, because he did not want to die. What's going on? At this time, in the Black Fog City, the city lord was originally sitting cross-legged in a secret room with his eyes closed, but he suddenly opened his eyes. The spiritual energy of the entire world was changing. Who drew the power of the super great array? The city lord of Black Fog City was extremely curious. Was it the red-eyed-browed Eagle King of Heavenly Eagle City, or the Thousand Beast King of Thousand Beast City? At this time, about 60 miles away from Gu Fei's camp, the Thousand Beast King was stunned by the endless flames in the sky. Then, he sensed the changes in this part of the world. Who used the array plate? The Thousand Beast King was also extremely shocked. Big brother, this? The desolate tiger stood behind the Thousand Beast King. You stay here, I'll go take a look. The Thousand Beast King said and leaped into the sky, rushing towards the place where the flames were soaring. This? The desolate tiger was shocked. He wanted to call out to his big brother, but the Thousand Beast King had already run far away. At this time, in the sky above Gu Fei's camp, two figures were moving quickly. Dull sounds of collision rang out in the sky, shaking the world. Gu Fei's body was covered in mighty divine fire, and he directly struck out with the fire fist. Every time he struck out, a monstrous divine fire burst out from his fist, burning the void and distorting it. Even when facing the red-eyed-browed Eagle King who had drawn the power of the super great array, not only did he not show any fear, but his fighting spirit was even stronger. This guy is a lunatic. At this time, the red-eyed-browed Eagle King was extremely depressed. He had drawn the power of the super great array to keep blasting this guy away, but the other party kept coming back to kill him again and again. And this guy was getting more and more courageous as he fought. The red-eyed-browed Eagle King found that he could not really hurt this guy at all. This is big trouble. The red-eyed-browed Eagle King groaned inwardly. If this continued, it would definitely be disadvantageous to him. In fact, the red-eyed-browed Eagle King did not know that Gu Fei was constantly devouring the power of the super great array. The power was just too strong. Gu Fei knew that if he could completely devour this power, his cultivation would improve again. It's that old guy red-eyed-browed? The Thousand Beast City Lord, the Thousand Beast King, came to take a look and was immediately shocked. At this time, on the ground, in the military camp, Gu Fei's army and the rest of the red-eyed-browed Eagle King's army were engaged in a fierce battle. Why aren't you two taking action? What are you waiting for? The red-eyed-browed Eagle King roared. He could not hold on any longer. Even though he was a divine king, he was not as strong as he wished. It was not easy to draw the power of the super great array. That old man red-eyed-browed. The thousand-beast king had no choice but to take action. This Gu Fei was much stronger than he had imagined. Roar! The thousand-beast king roared as if he had transformed into a golden lion. He threw a punch at Gu Fei as his long hair danced wildly in the wind. Humph! Gu Fei grabbed the thousand-beast king's right fist with a backhand. In the next moment, Gu Fei swung the thousand-beast king and threw him at the red-eyed-browed Eagle King. The red-eyed-browed Eagle King was dumbfounded. At the same time, a cold light suddenly appeared and struck at Gu Fei's head at lightning speed. What? Chapter 49-39. Gu Fei fought the red-browed Eagle King and the thousand-beast king, and he revealed a terrifying combat strength that caused the hearts of the two experts to palpitate. The thousand-beast king was even directly grabbed by Gu Fei and smashed towards the red-browed Eagle King. However, at this moment, a cold light suddenly appeared and struck Gu Fei's head like a bolt of lightning. Master Xiaoya, who was fighting against the heavenly Eagle King, was terrified. If her master died, all of them would be buried with him. Gu Fei had killed the third son of the barbarian sovereign, Man Yao, and had formed an irreconcilable feud with the barbarian sovereign. The lords under Gu Fei's command were also shocked by the scene in the sky. However, to everyone's disbelief, the cold light that was about to land on Gu Fei's head was bounced off and knocked away. What? The red-browed Eagle King and the thousand-beast king were shocked to see this because they knew who it was. It was the Lord of Black Mist City, Tong Yi. The Lord of Black Mist City was a half-step divine king, and he had used the power of the super formation. The cold light sword in his hand was a divine king-level sword. This guy blocked the Lord of Black Mist City's cold light sword with his body alone. One could imagine how strong this guy's body was. This guy has cultivated the invincible golden body? The red-browed Eagle King was shocked. This guy's body was so strong that it could resist a divine king-level divine weapon. I don't believe he can fight against the super formation. The thousand-beast king roared and pulled out the bone staff on his back. In the next moment, ferocious beast shadows appeared around him. The reason why the thousand-beast king was called the thousand-beast king was because of his cultivation technique. He cultivated the thousand beasts' mysterious art, and when he cultivated it to its peak, he would possess the strength of 1,000 beasts, and he would be able to contend against an emperor. It was a pity that the thousand-beast king, the wild ape, had only cultivated the thousand beasts' mysterious art. There was still a long way to go before he reached the profound realm. Formation plate, let's work together and kill this guy. The thousand-beast king roared and a formation plate rushed out of his body. All right. The Lord of Black Fog City and the red-browed Eagle King gritted their teeth. In the next moment, an array disc rushed out from each of their bodies. The 3 array discs flew into the air and directly merged together. Rumble! Countless runes rushed out from the fused formation plate. The entire world suddenly changed color, and the sun and moon lost their light. An extremely terrifying energy fluctuation erupted from the fused formation plate. Gu Fei wasn't in a hurry to make a move. He stood in the void with his hands behind his back, watching the scene coldly. The thousand-beast king, the red-browed Eagle King, and the others directly triggered the powerful energy that erupted from the fusion formation plate. 3 beams of divine light shot out from the fused formation plate and directly entered the bodies of the thousand-beast king and the other 2. In the next moment, the thousand-beast king, the red-eyed-browed Eagle King, and the Black Fog City Lord suddenly erupted with extremely powerful energy fluctuations. Interesting. Gu Fei sensed that the strength of the thousand-beast king and the others had increased by several times in an instant. The thousand-beast king was originally a mid-level god king, but his cultivation and battle prowess had actually soared to the advanced God-King realm. The red-browed Eagle King was even stronger. He was originally an advanced God-King, but now his cultivation had actually soared to the level of a half-step monarch. This method of raising one's cultivation and battle prowess was indeed brilliant, but it also had a fatal flaw. Once the formation plate was broken, they would be directly beaten back to their original state. Moreover, this borrowed power would also harm them. After this battle, whether the Thousand Beast King and the others could defeat Gu Fei or not would be greatly weakened. Even the Black Fog City Lord's cultivation and battle prowess had soared to the godly king realm. "Is that all you've got?" Gu Fei glanced at them and said indifferently. "What an arrogant fella!" The Thousand Beast King's body was surrounded by beastly shadows. Each shadow burst out with an extremely ferocious aura, as if they would pounce on Gu Fei at any time. "Die!" The red-browed Eagle King roared angrily. In the next moment, he directly attacked Gu Fei like a divine eagle, aiming for Gu Fei's throat and chest with his claws. Even a great perfection God-King realm expert would definitely die if they were caught by his eagle claws. However, Gu Fei's physical body was extremely tough. Even a godly king weapon could not cut through his skin. Could the red-browed Eagle King's claws be even more powerful than a godly king weapon? "I'm just playing with you." Gu Fei laughed, and then he waved his hands. A strand of chaotic energy immediately erupted from his body. In the next moment, the red-browed Eagle King that was pouncing towards Gu Fei actually changed its direction and pounced towards the City Lord of Black Mist. "What?" The Black Fog City Lord was shocked to see the ferocious red-browed Eagle King pouncing towards him. "You're crazy." The Black Fog City Lord hurriedly dodged. "I didn't want to do this." The red-browed Eagle King felt as if 10,000 alpacas were galloping through his heart. He was so depressed that he almost vomited blood. At the same time, the Thousand Beast King also made his move. "Roar!" The Thousand Beast King roared angrily. In the next moment, shadows of beasts rushed out of his body and pounced towards Gu Fei with their claws and fangs bared. These were not ordinary shadows of beasts. They were formed from vitality and were probably much more powerful than real beasts. The power of the Thousand Beasts' mysterious art was not to be underestimated. "Not bad!" Faced with the countless shadows of beasts, Gu Fei smiled faintly and waved his sleeves casually. The shadows of beasts that were charging towards him disappeared into the void. This was one of Gu Fei's 9 secrets of the immortal path, the void formula, which could transform all the vitality of the world. No matter how powerful the Thousand Beasts' mysterious art was, the 9 secrets of the immortal path was its nemesis. "How is this possible?" The Thousand Beast King was dumbfounded. His most powerful technique, the Thousand Beasts' mysterious art, was broken so easily by his opponent. At that moment, Gu Fei's entire aura changed, becoming incomparably domineering. Boom! In the next moment, a burst of divine fire erupted from Gu Fei's body. "Fist of fire!" Gu Fei punched out, and in the next moment, monstrous divine fire erupted from his fist. The extremely violent power of fire rushed towards the Thousand Beast King. "Damn it!" The Thousand Beast King was shocked and angry. He frantically operated the Thousand Beasts' mysterious art. It was as if he had transformed into a divine dragon and met Gu Fei's punch head-on. Rumble! A muffled sound erupted, and Gu Fei and the Thousand Beast King were sent flying at the same time. Again! You're tuning into the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.